Good afternoon, one and all. Saturday, it's 1:30. It's Racing Post Live. Who's ready to go? Stacks of races coming your way this afternoon. Loads of moaning about the quality of racing today, by the way, but there's plenty of it, and there's going to be loads of clues, mainly handicaps, but we could still see some Royal Ascot markers being thrown down. We are on the horizon of a Diamond Jubilee. We'll be with you next Friday for the Oaks. Don't miss that, and the Saturday as well. Get in your Derby and Oaks shouts, maybe even Coronation Cup. We're hearing the ADR. Ooh, there's still a cloud over him, isn't there? Let us know all your anti-post thoughts. We're here to chat. You can get involved, of course, by liking and subscribing on YouTube. If you're watching on Facebook Live, let's ramp up the chat. I'm here, and I'm going to go crazy this afternoon. I'm in a very, very good mood along the way with Betfair, telling you everything about the exchange and the sportsbook as well. We've got offers for you, extra places. Barry Orr's in Dublin in place. But before we go over to the great man, let's go to Robbie Wilders, the anti-post man. This is back-to-back studio sessions. We did a feature show yesterday.
Timed it perfectly. With the,
you look like you got a bit more about you.
A bit more about, yeah. I'm feeling pretty, not smug. That's not the wrong word, but
no,
feeling better. Yeah, the sun's out.
It's great, isn't it?
It's a lovely day, yeah.
Would you
Champions League final tonight, yeah.
Well mentioned, because Kate Tracey is here, look, and she is donning the red of Liverpool.
Trying to. I sort of thought it's probably best not to wear my full-on shirt. So I'm going with my supporting kind. But sort of a red of the sunburn is also factoring into it at the minute. But red hearts, yep, the heart is certainly red today.
There's a jungle out there at the moment, Kate. You've got to be careful. And I believe also in solidarity with the Scousers making the trip over to Paris this evening is Barry Orr. Let's go and have a look.
I think this is cerise. You might find, Dave. Definitely not red.
Oh, you've been educated well, Barry. That's for sure. Buying cerise
I have no
tops.
objections. I would have no objections to Liverpool winning the Champions League tonight. None whatsoever. I'd love to see it.
Barry.
What price are they, Barry? What sort of liquidity are you expecting for a Champions League final on the exchange?
They're evens at the moment. In terms of liquidity, it will be, at the moment, we're looking at, there's around 3.5 million matched. So it'll be a multiple of that. It'll be over 10 million easily, I would imagine, nearer the time. But 206 on the exchange, 3.85. So a little over 11 to 4 Real Madrid. The draw is the same price, 3.85. So Liverpool very strong there. Both teams to score looks about at 1.68. But if you like those short ones, but that looks a knocking bet.
Well, there you go. You've heard from Barry there, an early tip. It's going to be some night, isn't it? People out there barbecuing. We know that you take us on the go this show. Let us know where you are. Are you, of course, at Haydock, Beverley, or indeed Chester, which is the coverage we're giving you this afternoon. We start off in the 1:45, a tricky sprint. But Barry, what do we like the look of today?
Yeah, well, there's a whole host of horses that I fancy today, Dave. But in the 220, it's the money back special race on the Betfair Sportsbook and Exchange. Get your cash back as a free bet if your horse fails to place there. So that's a knockout offer, one that we have during the week on some meetings, and also every Saturday. So watch out for that, the 220 in Haydock. But obviously we always do our Lucky 15, our each way Lucky 15. It's an important part of the show. Some cracking each way terms on the Betfair Sportsbook across all the cards in the UK and Ireland today. I think there's 10 meetings in total between the two countries, and there's a lot to get through. Obviously, the races that we're going to cover, but will we do the Lucky 15 first? I believe Kate's going to do Magic Fingers today.
Yes.
Okay, well, we'll kick off in the 1:45 in Haydock, our first race. Had a girl I fancy in that to run a big race. She's the 3-year-old filly getting all the allowances. It was 4 places on the Betfair Sportsbook, but there's 2 non-runners there, so it's just down 3 places there. But at a girl I like in the 1:45. Then in the 2:20, Marajan, 4 places on the Betfair Sportsbook there. I like the look of Marajan. Obviously a horse I followed last season. I think this could be a big year for him. The 4-year-olds hold sway in that race. Then in the 2:55, Lady Hayes is a filly I like. A real strong 1.5 miles will be right up her street. It's a competitive race, that, and she's a nice price. Lady Hayes in the 2:55. And for our last leg in the 3:45 in Chester, 4 places on the Betfair Sportsbook in this race, the 3:45 in Chester. We're going to stick in Fool's Rush In. That's our last leg at 3:45. So 3 in Haydock and 1 at Chester. Lucky 15, each way Lucky 15. It's 15 bets. We're going to do it for a quid each way. That means we're spending 30 quid in total. 6 doubles, 4 trebles, an accumulator, and 4 single bets there. I didn't even look. What does that get us if they all come in, Kate?
£4,224.40, Barry.
There we go.
Child is our charity for the month of May, as you know, Dave.
Absolutely superb. Yeah, great stuff. And once again, honestly, if I always say this, if this show's ever to do anything, it is to boost the charity, and Barry's been exemplary on that front. So let's try and boost that, shall we? And let's see exactly what we can do in the 145. It's pretty tricky, this race, guys, isn't it? The first one. What do you like? Let's start getting the social interactive pumping up. Just before we move on, I don't want to upset you, Kate, but I'm going to be head over heart this evening, and I do think Real Madrid will win.
Really?
Yeah.
Why? What's your angle in then?
What's that ahead?
Yeah, I was going to say, what's the thinking behind that?
Well, they're even money, aren't they, Liverpool? I'm a bit surprised about the 11-4 Real Madrid. I think it's a bet. I think that the way our season is set up, they look tired to me. Mo Salah looked like he was out of puff against Wolves to me.
Wolves.
And I know it's a week since, but I don't know.
It was a cagey game, wasn't it? It was cagey, to be fair. You were
Sunday,
always
that
sure.
wasn't it? Last Sunday.
It was ridiculous.
I even thought Watford might get a result against Chelsea. It was that weird. As it turned
Spooky
out.
things happening at the end of the season.
Real Madrid should
felt
not have beaten us, should not have beaten PSG, should not have beaten City. Liverpool are way better. I think even's pretty fair.
All right, okay, there you are.
Absolutely.
All right, so
Better
two
team.
against one here. All right. And anyway, that's tonight. Let's concentrate on the racing. What's the case with Atta Girl then? Carl Burke, obviously, Barry, in these sprints, course and distance winner. I guess come on a lot. You're expecting it to for that return.
Yeah, I thought the race in Chantilly, obviously, she likes to be up with it. It got into a little bit of a bumping match late on. She was late come home in her own time. She was only beaten 5 lengths in the race, but she was listed class last year. She's the sort of filly. She's got good form to tied in with Katura, who ran well in the Sandy Lane last week. And she's getting all the allowances. She's a 3-year-old filly getting all the allowances. So on rating, she shouldn't be too far off Dragon Symbol. It is a horse, Dragon Symbol, I just can't have. That was too bad a run to be true in the Duke of York during the Dante meeting. I obviously went off 11-4 joint favourite. Now, the only mitigation there is Roger Berry and his horses were running bad at the time. They're on a 21% strike rate in the last fortnight now. The stable is coming back into a bit of form, which they weren't during that Dante meeting. But Dragon Symbol, I think he'd be very brave to face into him at his current price. 3.15 on the Betfair Exchange, couldn't have him. Clarendon House, 6.8. 9 Russell. Diana Canyon is a horse that interests me as well at 8.6. That ran well in the Betfair sponsored Reed Ryan Moore on Betfair Kilovoton Stakes in Newmarket. When it was drawn on the stand side, you didn't want to be drawn on the stand side. We've discussed that plenty of times on the show. The winner was drawn 1 over on the far side. So you could mark him up for that run. But just Atta Girl, David Probert in the plate. Fast 5 furlongs on good ground. I think that's what she wants, and she'll come on for her seasonal bow. At the price, like 15.5 on the exchange. We're going to have 25 quid win on the exchange, please, at 15.5, and we're going to back her in the 4 places as well. She's currently trading at 2.76 in the 4 places, which is 7-4. So happy to be a price taker on both those, please, Kate.
Perfect. And 25
I like your new
on the
bins,
4
Kate.
places. Thank you so much. I'm getting old, Barry, is what it is. It was 25 on the 4 places, Barry, wasn't it?
Yeah, 4 places,
Perfect.
25 and 4 places to win as well would be great.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'm expecting a big run from her.
Yeah.
If you're getting old, Kate, then me and Barry are in lots of trouble. Yes, indeed, you mean business, do you? I have to say, actually, Kate, you're really getting the hang of this now, aren't you?
We're trying. There's a few curveballs, but I actually, whenever I come to this, it's over-phasing at the start, but when Barry explains everything through, the thinking of it, I love it. It fascinates me. I'm very much a numbers person, sort of maths was my favourite subject at school, so actually getting into the options that are on offer on the exchange is brilliant to get to learn more every week.
You're being hugely outclassed there, aren't you?
What are you talking about? I like maths as well.
You really are. This is going to be fun this
I had a
afternoon.
go on this the other week. I was a little bit hungover, but I've not been out last night. So
Just in general, it's marvellous. Listen. Quixel Cross, it never won a race, but you can get there in the end, right? We're working on you.
I'm there.
All right, I'm sensing at least a hat-trick from you today. So I'm going to give you the floor now in the 145.
Yeah, go on then.
Barry's right. Dragon Symbol really ought to be winning this.
Yeah. I mean, I like significantly, but he's not running, so I've gone for Dragon Symbol by default.
Right. I'm going to have to be a confessionist and say I've done the same.
Yeah.
Everything Barry's saying is right, and people out there will be like, this is almost the biggest Marmite race of the day, because this is a guy that won the Commonwealth Cup and was demoted, rightly so, after hanging all the way into Campanelle. But if you go back to the Sandy Lane, which was last week, a year ago, he really ought to have won that. He won to a mark of 1:15 in that. He was far too free at York, and York is just one of those weird tracks. And Roger Varian's horses are in better form. Varian's had 3 runners in this race for a win and a place. And he won it with a lovely horse called Steps a couple of years ago, people might remember. This is different class. If he doesn't win this, Houston, we have a problem. But I've got to be honest, guys, I'm having just a small wager on it because I'm struggling to really see. He's drawn right next to a horse called King of Stars as well, who ought to really rip it up and hopefully let him settle a bit better. There is one horse in here that I will throw in as a saver and a bit of a curveball. Ben Curtis could see him back on Nomadic Empire, who again ran no race at all at York last time. Egg on my face I had that day. I put him up in the paper in something called Expert Eye, which is walking the nap stable at the moment. I let them down. Thankfully, I had a winner at Sandown for them on Thursday night. I'm backing. It was the Whipmaster, which was annoyingly backed into 11 to 4.
Yeah.
But so I'm one from, I'm 1 all there, and they like me again. But I will have a bit on this because you've got to forgive horses, right? And if you watch his comeback at Ripon, this is a horse that's ready to step up. But I've got to see him come back. Okay, that's me.
Nice. Dragon Symbol. I mean, like, you go back to his last 3 runs over 5 furlongs. Second to Suessa, the French filly at Goodwood. Third to Winter Power in the Numthorpe, and very close 4th to Romantic Proposal in the Flying 5.
Absolutely dreadful pronunciation of the French horse. Sueza. You knew it when you were saying it as well because you almost laughed.
It was a half a pause,
I got a little bit shy.
I mean, I can't keep beating your drum, man. Come on.
Back down to 5 furlongs. Varian's in much better form now. You'd like to think that he'd be way better. If he doesn't win today, I'd probably geld him.
That was weird the way that Roger went out of form, wasn't it? Because he usually runs a high percentage.
At the start of the season, he was all firing. Do you remember at Newbury?
That was a weird thing.
Earlier on in the season, everything.
We'll try and get a word with him.
Was winning.
3.55. That has to be valued, doesn't it? Really?
Well, Barry, this is one of these horses, isn't it? Again, if he wins, am I being a bit Rodway-like to say that this ought to, on paper, really be an even money shot?
It's gone.
No, he was so disappointing in York, you couldn't say that. And then he was so disappointing in his last run when he was with Charlie Watson behind Creative Force in Ascot. That was a stinker of a run as well. So it's 2 consecutive pretty ordinary runs. He had plenty of racing last year. He had 11 runs in 2021. He hadn't seen a track before that.
Yeah.
As a 2-year-old.
Are you suggesting he's Bob Ollinger of the sprints?
What a line.
I mean, but you know what I mean? When a horse looks gone, I mean, on back class, this is over, isn't it? So if he doesn't win this, they are in a lot of trouble.
He's a Grade 1 winner in all but name, isn't he?
Yeah.
Obviously, from the Commonwealth Cup. So, he should be winning this, but I think you have to be very brave as a punter or stupid to face into him as the price at around the 9 to 4
Luckily
mark.
for you, Barry,
Step forward, Dave and Robbie. I guess. Let's have a look. Oh, good to see you, Paul Bakewell, opening up the social corner. Tentative start. Attalus Bay loves Haydock and the ground. But Rob Cowbell's horse. I thought you were talking about Rob Cowbell's. Rob Cowbell's horses aren't performing. Yeah, he's got a very interesting horse in the 2-year-old race. We're going to Beverley for 2 2-year-old races, you well know. One that Rob Cowbell, hang on.
That's a nickname. That's not a typo. That is a nickname.
Rob Cowbell's.
It's definitely. I've got a story about Rob.
Because I like to think that our producers would have edited that out to spare Paul Bakewell his blush.
Paul is a regular. And he's a good lad. He was commenting on what show we did yesterday and what a nice guy Stevie Donahoe seems, which I think you'll concur with.
Yeah, I agree. A lovely bloke, yeah. I'm just disappointed that I slightly mugged him off live on the air.
He came back at you, didn't he, which was a pleasure. So, Paul, great to have you there. Good luck with Attalus Bay. A lovely horse. Around this time last year, you'll remember when he was running for Marco Botti, he was a tough little warrior, wasn't he, winning the Sandown Sprint and the likes of that. So, Rob Cowell, king of the sprints. And listen, at Haydock, Richard Kingscote. Kate Tracey, before we talk a little bit about Haydock, before this race, as they're milling around, what wins the first?
I'm hoping it is actually going to be Attalus Bay, therefore, because I completely agree there with Paul Bakewell about the Robert Cowell form. I am not overly convinced by it at the minute, but when you actually go through his last 2 weeks of runners, there was a significant lack of expectation, though, behind the prices of a huge amount of those. He had a second at Goodwood at 40 to 1 there only 7 days ago. So it is. So I think you can put that into a bit of context. But Attalus, I mean, with Dragon Symbol, it's sort of like the Al-Azi in the Buckhound Stakes, isn't it? In the listed Buckhound Stakes, where he should win this on all known ability. If he brings back his best form, he should win this. But he's always been a horse where I have those slight temperament questions over him. And I think he did show that in the Commonwealth Cup when, of course, he drifted across into Campanelli there. And he's shown that sort of drifting a few times. He's always been a horse I've tried to take on.
In the Sandy Lane last season, he veered out.
Yeah.
Well, you thought that David Egan was going to go. No, it wouldn't have been David Egan who was riding, was it? It would have been Oisin, of course.
Oisin, yeah.
You thought Oisin was going to plough a different furrow, and then he came back, and Rohan beat him that day just by a whisker. But
he's just a horse I'm not convinced by with temperament. And I just wonder if this is a sign. This is either a brilliant bit of placing by Roger Varian to take advantage of a listed race, or this is a slight concern that he's being cited when he's a Group 1 horse. Why is he being running in listed?
Cannon really strong, lads.
Which
6.8 Kenya Canyon from 8.2. That's really strong, not without a chance. Your favourite was out to 11-4 at one stage. It's just into 5-2 now. Clarendon House also strong at 6.8. But we're favourite at the head of the market. Like they're not burying him the way you think they should.
Yes, it's almost a little bit like the stable don't really know either, isn't it? So that perhaps is a bit worrying. But we're talking about Robert Cowell's form. Of course, Clarendon House, no one mentioned on the panel. And if you forgive the slow start, watch him coming out the gates, basically, guys. If he bursts out, I think it's it's
where do they race here, Dave? Will they go up the stand side or the
probably the centre, Barry? I would imagine. We need to talk about the ground at Haydock, guys, don't we?
Yeah.
We've got 2 courses today that were abandoned in the week. We'll get to it. All right, good luck. 1:45. It's a burn up. It is the Achilles, and they're flying away. And interestingly, Dragon Symbol takes a lead this time. King of Stars, they knew on paper this was the likely front runner. They're tracking it. The other thing to say is the TARDIS Bay out well. Clarendon House, much better today. Just struggling at the moment, a little bit is Tab Deed. But only behind him, by a little bit, is Dragon Symbol. Now Nomadic Empire. This is the Nomadic Empire I was expecting to see. We'll see if he can see it out. He's having a share of the lead as well. Down the centre, they are indeed going. And you wonder why on earth it was abandoned after 2 races last night.
Yeah,
which one?
Dragon Symbol's coming to win.
Here comes Dragon Symbol. Now, what price is he going now? Surely he's going to go low in a minute. He's got handicappers to pick up. Rarsell looks the danger. But this is the Dragon Symbol of old. David Egan senses. Tab Deed on the far side. He's got back class. He's coming. Is Rarsell going to do him? I think Dragon Symbol is going to get wallowed up in the end. Yes, he is. Only second today. Rarsell. Massively progressive. James Doyle, what a season he's having. Pretty much last to first. He put the target on Dragon Symbol's back. Everyone thought he was going to win Barry Orr, and he's been done again. Pick the bones out of that.
Yeah, he took a pull on Dragon Symbol out of stalls. He went to 5.8 as soon as he left the traps. Your favourite. He's traded at a low in running, though, of 2.08 for 326 quid. So 11 to 10. But Razal, obviously, he hit a high of 12.73. He had a Betfair starting price of 7.5. Nothing really down. 12 to 1, or around the 11 to 1 mark for 11 quid. He traded that in running, but he's won quite convincingly, and it's back to drawing boards with the favourite now. After that, the horse I backed, that a girl ran no sort of race, and she got a good lead as well. But to watch a brief for her again. But your favourite had every chance, Dave.
Yeah,
you can go through it.
Yeah, well, I think this probably. I think something I'm going to pick up something on Barry said, actually. He had a lot of racing last season, didn't he? And when you're seeing it like this, Robbie, let's go to one of our more analytic heads in the racing post. What do you reckon?
Well, I mean, he's still beating horses rated in the low 100s there, isn't he? Apart from Rarsell. So for me, Rarsell's probably just put in a massive career best there. Dragon Symbol's run more like last season, not quite to the level of his Group 1 sort of placings, but I don't think he's run a bad race there at all. If you take out Rarsell, and everyone's saying he's back, really, aren't they?
Mick Appleby, of course, we're all talking about a beaten favourite. It annoys some people that, especially connections horses like, well, my horse, the way he's travelled into that. Mick Appleby, if you think about a Danzino who started right from the bottom and made his way pretty much to the top level, it's the one division where you can get a horse to progress, isn't it, from handicaps and up?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you is this worthy of his place then in the King's Stand?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, he's beaten a horse who was all but basically a Group 1 winner at Royal Ascot last season in the sprint.
He's not actually in it.
Is he not?
No.
I doubt they'd supplement, but I mean, yeah, I mean, he won a handicap of 78 in October, so he's going very much going the right way.
He's just
there's nothing to say he won't.
Horses. I know that there's a lot said about that on this show. I know, but Mick Appleby for me is whatever he just gets these horses that have got problems, and he knows how to sort them out.
Yeah, great training performance.
He places his horses extremely well.
As with any sprint, though, you're inclined to wonder, can he replicate that? Because you run that race 100 times again, you get 100 different results, wouldn't you?
Yeah, that takes him to 8 career wins from 14 starts. What a horse.
That's outstanding placing to do that.
Yeah, yeah. Since he's gone back on turf, they worked out he didn't really like the all-weather. He started off with Marcus Dragoning as well, guys, so he's going to have that decent Shadwell breeding. There we are. Tabdeed ran a bit better again, but Archie Watson, you know, who of course used to hose Dragon Symbol, again, not quite there, is it? So, all right, yeah.
Yeah, it's tricky that because, like you say, in terms of the King Stand, for me, I'd probably take a different approach. I think Dragon Symbol isn't rated 112. I don't think he's an 112
What would you rate him now,
horse.
Kate?
Definitely not that. Anyway, I would have him
Kate's absolutely right.
around
I totally
105.
agree, yeah.
Honestly, I would have him about that nowadays and sliding on the base of that. I thought it was a bit of a concern that they wanted to go for this listed price. So for that reason, I mean, Rarsell, what is he rated? 101. I don't think the handicapper, even though he's beaten a 112 horse, I'm hoping he's going to look at it more so that Dragon Symbol isn't that. Not going to put Rarsell up too much.
Tabdeed's your benchmark, isn't he, in third? Right? He ran to 104 last time, and he's a horse that used to hit 115s, right? And again, another ex-Shadwell horse.
Yeah. And behind Dragon Symbol, even going into this race, it did look a very winnable listed contest. So if you think that if a handicapper even does put him up a few, would you run him over 6 in something like the Wokingham? I mean, I think he is probably all 5 furlongs, though, to be fair. But he get into it, no problem.
Well, you are now thinking about a handicap down the season,
I'm thinking
aren't you?
more handicap, or that listed 5 furlong race at York in July. That's
He's never run in a
likeable
handicap.
race. No,
He went very quickly from novice company, didn't he? Winning at Hamilton Lights 2, Sandy Lane and Commonwealth Cup and all that sort of stuff. Look, there we are. Will he even go abroad? There's a potential out of the owners as well. We might be seeing him go off to Hong Kong or something like that. The first race is down. How many have we got today? 9, isn't it?
Cool.
8.
Stacked schedule.
Is it 8?
Yes.
Thank you, goodness, you're
That's
here.
all right, yeah.
At the end, I was just like,
When there's like 40 minutes between races, it gets tougher for us.
you're not sure about that, are you?
Nah. Sort of my mind starts to wander a little bit.
You
But
need a bit
I
of
quickly
pace.
bring myself back into the conversation.
Oh, don't
Right.
worry.
Dangerous ploy then.
I shall be doing that. We're off and running at Haydock then. What's next? It will be the 2:05 at Beverley. And it's 2-year-old times, isn't it? Good to see Beverley on the track. Let's get this out of the way, shall we? Beverley, I was covering it, was it Wednesday?
Oh, same. Yeah, that was an early finish.
Bizarre, wasn't it?
Talking about tracks now, featured tracks that we've got today, Haydock and Beverley, both have had abandonments after a few races.
Really
this week.
weird last night, wasn't it?
It's all right for you, though, half day.
Well, no, I
yeah,
actually had to
I was
switch
laughing.
onto another
Did you?
track.
Oh, right, you're not robbing
Oh,
your
they
hands,
don't
mate.
let you off that easily, believe it or not.
Giving you more work.
Yeah, actually, I did find myself with a little bit more work as well. Basically, what do we make of this? 2 tracks, a lot about, I mean, Richard Hughes in particular, of the tweets I saw last night from the trainers. Let's talk about this. We've got 5 minutes until we need to move on to Beverley, really. Beverley at least have made a token payment, haven't they, for connections of horses that went, which was very well received. Sort of like John Berry, Newmarket stalwart, tweeting about that and saying it's appreciated.
Yeah.
Haydock should be doing the same.
Should be the case, yeah. Haydock are doing the same, aren't they?
I hope so.
I thought I read a story this morning.
Why is
they
this?
have. The Racing Post had that they pay compensation, yeah.
Great. There
Should
we
be
go.
doing that,
Right.
really. I mean, it's like it's kind of their error, isn't it? So.
Well, they put 8mm on Tuesday. Now, is it down to all this watering?
Surely, yeah.
But then for slippiness, it's so tricky, isn't it? Like, I don't envy clerks of the courses jobs whatsoever. The only time they make any headlines is when something's gone wrong.
Yes, correct.
But the fact it's slippy, and we saw that with Beverley then itself, where it was good to firm, and then they had that rain shower, and it made it slippy on the bend on the round course then, hence why it was fine for the first 3 races over the 5. As soon as they went round the bend for the 7, that's when it started cutting up. And they said basically that at Haydock, why they couldn't run the straight races then was because of the bend following the finish line. As we know, it's super tight at Haydock there.
It's the pull-up they didn't want to go on.
And the jockeys, like,
It's actually when you're at your fastest, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And, flat jockeys, they need no excuses to to call an inquiry
Whoa, there
to
we are.
deal with
Yes,
that.
quite right.
As the jump jockeys would happily fire that one back across to them.
Yeah.
But it's then tricky. But earlier on in the week, I was kind of concerned about that. Anyway, watering to maintain good. Is that the way we're going now? Is that a positive or a negative? What do you think?
Barry, let's throw this over to you. Lots been said about it. Do you think we're over-watering is the first question? And I don't know, should they be coming out and being more vociferous about this after 2 races last night, really?
If the jockeys say they feel it's dangerous, you can't contradict them, can you?
Mm-hmm.
It leaves the clerks in a very, very precarious position, and the stewards, because if something were to go wrong, they haven't a leg to stand on, because the deputation of jockeys who had gone and inspected that bend felt that it was unsafe for them to continue riding on it. So that has to be respected. They're professionals at what they do, and they're riding all over the world. And if they think it's unsafe, it's unsafe. The Haydock's it's a weird one because it has its own microclimate almost, doesn't it, Dave? Like many times during the year, like it could be the height of August, summer ground everywhere, and it can be heavy in Haydock, and it gets a lot of racing that perf as well. It comes under a lot of pressure throughout the year, both on flat and national hunt. So I don't know. Kirkentellwright does his best, and as Kate says, it's a thankless task, really. But I'm gone are the days where you see firm ground. Is it a welfare issue? Do they not want horses running on firm ground? And they seem to overcompensate then. And if you get a flash shower, all of a sudden the ground changes considerably, and there's a spate of non-runners. And if it doesn't soak into the ground, it can make it a bit scatey on top. So it's a real head scratcher for a lot of people. But I think they should just leave nature do nature's thing. And if they're declaring on firm ground, well, I can't see how they let them water.
The problem is that we've got. I mean, you've got the likes of Bath, who's the the one course with no natural, no artificial irrigation, I should say. They've got no watering system there, and you don't really get small fields at Bath that much.
No, and it's rattling all the time.
The form tends to work out. You get Bath specialists, all that sort of stuff. I always had issues with watering when we started overdoing it. I think Sir Mark Prescott started talking about it getting into the breed. Have we gone too far is the question out there, I think. And this is something that we need to concentrate on a little bit, I think. It will be nervy times at the moment, I think, with dry forecasts out there. We seem to be having a lot of dry spells, don't we? We should say that. And Kirkentellwright, he gets a lot of stick. One of the reasons why Kirkland is at Haydock is because he is thought by the Clarks to be the Clark's Clark.
Yeah.
If you go and do your apprenticeship, it's under Kirkland. He's
best
the
Clark in the business.
Well, and he gets all the stick, and they put him. You almost want him to finish his career at Cheltenham or something. You know what I mean? He deserves it. So let's not get too down on the Clarks. And Craig's quite right when it's only the headlines when it goes bad, but hopefully we're not looking at a sustained problem here, and the BHA and everyone needs to get together and look at it. We need to be sensible about this. Unless there is absolutely no way it's going to rain, shouldn't really be putting on water to maintain good ground. That's a bit mental.
Especially over jumps, like the obsession with soft ground. I swear that didn't used to be a thing when I started watching racing.
It's a welfare thing, as Barry said, and I believe, just to finish on this, I think Kirkland, in his quote last night to us, was along the lines of the welfare card is the biggest card of all. And when you've got a clerk of the course saying that,
what I don't like is when trainers use that as an excuse for not running on good soft ground.
Yes.
Listen, go and have a pint with G-Rod. You'll be there for hours and you'll be indulged. Anyway, let's move on. If you want to talk to us about that throughout the afternoon, we've got time, let's do it. But let's go to Beverley. We've got a couple of races up there. It's a massive day for them up there. And it's the Hillary Needler Trophy, Barry. And again, as usual every year, mixed bag, but some potential Royal Ascot fillies.
Yeah, real fast fillies in this. We always get a smart one. Absolutely Flawless is your favourite at the moment. The filly that did well in Chester to win after a tardy start. 3.35, 5.0 Distinguished Lady, par 5, 8-2. Same price for Star of Lady M. Fragrance 8-8, 9-6 Primrose, and it's 26 bar. But yeah, highly competitive race. Any of these could take a massive step forward. I was really taking a par 5 Nigel Tinkler's horse when it won at Doncaster. I thought that she ran well. She was a bit green. She changed her legs when she quickened, and the runner-up just brought her across the track. So you could mark her up for that. She was a 20-1 chance. So I don't think they were expecting a lot of her according to the market anyway. And that was a nice, pleasant surprise for connections. And I'm going to chance her. She's drawn 3. I think that's a decent draw here. So par 5. Currently trading at 8, had been about 7.4, 7.6 earlier on. So happy to, at 8.2, we're going to have 50 quid win on that, Kate. Perfect. So it's 8 now, but if you select 8 and just move it up to 8.2, that'll go into the lay section. We want someone to come in and lay a stat bet. So par 5, 8.2, 50 quid.
Lovely. Yeah, she's interesting, isn't she? Because 8 of the last 10 of these were last time out winners.
Oh, that was...
I've actually done some homework today, Kate, so
it shows.
Sorry.
The workings and everything.
I was there when Fragrance ran at Ascot when she was 3rd. She's tiny.
Little girl.
She's tiny. She won last time out at Catterick, but I think she's up against it. The market thinks so as well.
Who's that tiny, sorry?
Fragrance.
Probably doesn't
you don't expect that from
doesn't
Johnson
mean that much
in
in terms of a juvenile, though, does it?
Maybe not, and she was up against the boys at Ascot, and she's drawn in stall 2. She'll be up there under the Hitman Art. But it's just, I don't know. I think I was surprised because you used to sing Scope from Johnson, aren't you? That's kind of what you are. Parfire being the other one who Barry's with, absolutely got a good draw. Tinkler's horse is not known for first time outs. When he gets one, he definitely is up to having Group 2-year-olds as well. Rowan Scott rides most of the horses as well. Right character of the game. Nigel Tinkler would love to see him win this. I just thought absolutely flawless. As the price is earlier, she looked like she was getting near 3-1 to me. And the stiff finish at Beverley under Buick, everything looks right. She'll do for me. I think she's right, Fav. Let's get the social up. Andy Sim is absolutely agreeing with me in singles, doubles, and trebles. Andy, fingers crossed.
Let us know who else is in the multiples, Andy.
We like to know that, don't we?
Please.
Yeah. Let
I
us
can't
know,
help but
Andy,
have that tune in my head, the flawless tune,
Are you going to do it?
Please do it.
Flawless. Absolutely flawless.
Oh, Lord, I mean,
The point to the camera and everything.
won't be asking that one again.
Cheesy. Obviously, owner David Lowe, not to be mistaken with producer Dave Lowe.
No.
Is a fan of that tune. I'm not really a fan of her that much because I think everything fell into her lap at Chester last time. They went
Acting
way
like
too
you're in a
quick.
music video now. You're doing all the expressions and everything.
They went way too quick.
Dave Lowe, the owner, is a character of the game, isn't he?
Yeah.
He gets a bit annoyed that people pin him as an all-weather. But a lot of his horses start on the all-weather, and of course he had Catchy, the greatest all-weather sprinter of all time. So look, he deserves. Let's hope that Dave's going to the Queen Mary with this one. That's what I'm hoping. He's a fan of the show as well. Kate Tracey.
Yeah, I love Parfire here. Like I say, absolutely flawless. Has lived up to the name so far, but the time at Chester wasn't great. It wasn't that strong a race either. So yeah, I agree with Barry here with Parfire. And James Garfield, her sire, is just a first season sire to follow. He's had 5 runners so far. 3 of them are unbeaten, including Maria Branwell, who won the listed race on Thursday evening at Sandown the other day in really good style, overturning the odds-on favourite. Really good there. So definitely a sire to follow. And I agree with Barry where Parfire, she just looked so green on that debut start. She got away slowly and it just took her quite a while for the penny to really drop with her. But the further she went and the fact she managed to beat an Ammo Racing, David Lochnan trained second horse that was well enough supported as well. Really, really likeable. So, yeah, she's definitely one that I wanted to keep on side with, provided she's learnt more again. From
Do you not think Absolutely Flawless did loads wrong and still won the Lily Agnes?
I thought, well, I mean, she had the dream Passage and they went
She did not. She fell out of the gate. She
yeah, but that helped because
the further she went, the better she got, and that's why I think Beverley will really suit her. But again, she's getting short enough for me now. Did you put up a tip in this yet?
Yeah. Bit annoyed with Kate actually because I was just about to bang out some James Garfield.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Who knew James Garfield was going to get so much airtime?
Yeah.
I'd
forgotten about Sire, really.
Should he even really be like a sire? He didn't do loads.
No, he wasn't
that great, was it?
It's funny how that can happen.
He nearly won the Jacques Le Marois.
Very good.
But he didn't win it. I want to see my sires winning Group 1s myself, but
well, with 2-year-olds, you just get them out and speed, don't you?
€4,000 at the minute.
Wow.
Which is after this first showing. I know that sort of after the first crop, it always dips at this time and then goes forward. But yeah, but goodness me, his horses are running well, though.
Yeah, very much so.
Which doesn't fall in line with his form.
I think Memas quite lucky to be a sire as well.
Yeah,
he's
but
doing
look what
quite
he's
well.
doing, yeah.
And Kodiak never won a group race, did he?
Well, there you go. Well, yeah, so and you have to remember that they're often by very classy stallions themselves. He's an exceeding excel.
Anyway,
Garfield was.
If anyone does fancy fragrance, then put him in a double with Whistle and Flute later.
This is fragrance for you.
Related double. No, it's not. No, I'm just saying if you do like that for value grounds, you should take Whistle and Flute as well.
Because he
short and yeah, she beat it.
He was
the
one place ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, Parfire. Best first time out RPR of any of these in the field on a debut. Nigel Tinkler obviously going to improve as she keeps going. Half sister to Dig 2, that smart juvenile.
Is this 3 for Parfire then?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. All right.
The market suggesting the Parfire has only 3 legs. They have to 12.5.
Yeah, that is so concerning. I mean, I just took a bit of
let's try and get a look at her, shall we?
Betfair, thinking that's value.
Is she not the grey, is she? No. That star of Lady M, who of course was, the market suggested she might beat up.
There's a lamb down at the start. Like, there's nothing visibly wrong with her. It doesn't look like she sweated up or anything. But the market has just gone doolally on her from 7.6 to 12. Was trading at 13 a second ago.
I don't understand.
Crazy.
It's a track that
thinking that
has
was
lots of winners at as well. So maybe she did get a bit fractious. I haven't seen anything like you say. Yeah, quite as a lamb down there. But listen, you've got to sometimes
drifters do win.
They do
Yeah,
win.
exactly.
They
Let's
do
bear
win.
that in mind.
What are we thinking
They do
about the
win.
draw here? Are we with
I
the
wouldn't
Beverley
like to be
bias?
back in every drifter, Robbie. You finish up on your nude, son.
Sunning me off as well.
It just sunned you there, quite right.
Appreciate
No, I
it.
think you deserved it. But obviously Keely's, it's one of his big things, isn't it? But I don't know. I've taught lots to him about when you worry about a drift, and I suppose a once race 2-year-old would probably come into that category
Yeah, when
potentially.
you've got such little else to go on.
Yeah, having said that, it's
Yeah.
Nigel Tinkler, isn't it? In the races, the money 10 minutes beforehand starts looking towards the ammo races, the Primrose Ridges, and the Hannon's horse, of course, Hayley Turner, Distinguished Lady, who got taken on her debut. Will she be the pace angle? Stiff incline at Beverley, one of the slowest final furlongs in the country. We were chatting yesterday. I had Stevie Donoghue again mention that. He said that on the round course, that the kickback is the worst in the country because there's loads of dog
Really?
walkers.
Is that right? Did you? No. Oh,
So they always
that
think,
odd?
goodbye goggles.
That's
goodbye
grim.
silks.
Why are these dog walkers not picking up their dog's business?
That's what you get with Stevie Donoghue, just great unexpected lines. But he was like, the dog walkers need to pick up. But
Why
yeah,
would
there's
they
a lot
not
of dog
do
walkers.
that? Don't have a dog if you're not going to clean up.
It's not for that. That's not for now, is it? The point of being is we've got a race on the.
Gets to me.
We've got a race on the
Don't
bend as
litter.
well. We'll be
Don't
looking
triggering.
at front runners at Beverley. He was suggesting keep out of it. So
Yeah.
anyway, there you go. Look, we're building up to the second of 8 races, as Kate quite rightly told me. Plenty coming your way. We've got the John O'Gaunt Stakes at Haydock, of course. Always an interesting puzzle. Who do you like in that? We've got the Pinnacle Stakes. I really like one in that. We'll be getting to that at Haydock shortly as well. We go to Chester, I'm delighted to say. The nap of the day runs in the final race for Dave Orton. Stick with us here on RP Live with Betfair and on the way. We've got a money back special race coming up, Barry, as well. But who's going to go off Fav here?
The 220 in Haydock is the money back special race. Yeah, Fav here, absolutely flawless without a shadow of a doubt. 3.451 Distinguished Lady, 10.5 par 9. Star Lady M Fragrance 9.4. Star Lady M is strong at 8.8.
Thank you, Barry. All right, good luck then. They're all in lined up. You want a good start in with your 2-year-olds, don't you? Who's going to ping them? Fragrance went slightly out to her right, we should say. It didn't help Par Fire that much as well. But leading at the moment is one of the ammos. It's Primrose Ridge for Darryl Holland. Jack Mitchell as well. Plenty of experience and showing it at the moment. Star of Lady M showing paid as she did as well. Let's look for some of the big players then. Par Fire at the moment. Distinguished Lady not live in life whatsoever. Fragrance got the run of the race. I'm looking for Absolutely Flawless, coming from last again under William Buick. I haven't gone all that
Travelling
quick
well
here. What
as
are we
well, to be
thinking?
fair. Travelling well.
Fragrance has got the gap.
Par Fire.
Absolutely flawless if it gets the run. Has William Buick given this too much to do? Par Fire out on its
goodness
feet.
me.
The close is going to
Not
come
ideal.
too late, I think. Primrose,
Yeah,
could this be a
too
make
much
all?
to do.
Too
Yeah,
much
make
kickback
all.
at Beverley, we were saying. Absolutely flawless is coming, but surely this is too little too
way too
late.
late.
At the moment, it's the 2 leaders, Star Lady M and Primrose Ridge as well. Pretty uneventful.
experienced horses.
Absolutely flawless. The
Ooh,
eye
look at
catcher.
that, though.
Here we
Star
go.
Lady
Hang on a
M.
minute. We're going to see her coming towards the
Going
line.
over
Yes, we
turns.
are.
Oh.
Okay, Star of Lady M makes it 3 from 4. What happened in the Lily Aglas, everyone will be saying. The bend of Chester, not applicable here. That was a slow final furlong if you're on Primrose Ridge. Barry Orr.
Primrose Ridge traded at a low of 107, so 14 to 1 on. It really did look home and hosed, didn't he? But Star Lady M and Danny Tudhope gets up in the shadows of the post. Haven't traded a high of 33 to 1 in running, just for small money there on the Betfair Exchange. Had a Betfair SP, the winner. Star of Lady M of 9.2. Very few horses got into it. It was a very messy race. And just hard luck. It said decent fractions. Jack Mitchell on Primrose Lady and just chinned on the line.
Okay, yeah, I mean, it was a race where you had to be handy, wasn't it? We talked about the kickback, of course. Maybe there were some dog walkers on the straight. I don't know, because that was a domination. You don't often see it. Primrose Ridge, obviously a very quick horse. Look out for her. I would imagine maybe in nurseries over a sharp test. You might even be going, I don't know, flat track for her. She's got a nice big prize in her, I think. Star of Lady M.
The winner we put into the Queen Mary at 40, Dave.
Don't think Wes Ward will be losing much sleep, Barry, do you?
No. Definitely not.
No, but that does give a boost for the National Stakes winner, of course, doesn't it, a little bit? Who was Maria Bramwell on Thursday. What a good meeting that was, by the way, on Thursday.
So good.
What a good meeting.
Arguably better than some of today's.
Well, you absolutely,
Were you
but
there?
we should mix it. I didn't go. No, I had to be with you on Friday, and I've got to be professional, unlike some of our colleagues who completely lost the plot. But Maria Bramwell was well backed in the national stakes there. David O'Mara, so his 2-year-olds are starting to really fly, and this is now 3 out of 4. She's a classy filly. Oh man, absolutely flawless. What happened there? Too much
It's
to
not
do.
the best ride from Will Buick.
Champion
Sorry,
elect.
mate, if you're watching. You're not watching, obviously, but
He had to switch as well, which you've got to do at Beverley if you take your luck, you know.
I remember the Star of Lady M was odds on for that Lily Agnes, the absolutely flawless one. So she's clearly got ability.
You still go to Royal Ascot with absolutely flawless, Dave Lowe, if you're listening.
Yeah, 3 out of 4.
Just hope she didn't cope.
I mean,
She's a lovely filly. She's proved herself, that Lily
now
Agnes.
she's proved herself on fast
Yeah.
ground as well, because she'd only won on soft before. So
Yeah, and
get her
again,
in
going
there.
back on soft ground might not hurt her,
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Entitled to go for it.
All right, we're rough and running at Beverley. We'll go back for a
Another
7.5 furlong
smart
race.
2-year-old for Emma. They
Yeah.
seem to have every decent 2-year-old in the country, don't
They
they?
have.
Kate was saying it
Single one.
beforehand there. They've seriously talented 2-year-olds.
They've spent a bit of money.
And Coutinho's in it as well.
I
in the
mean-
ownership.
Yeah,
which
I
is
think that
great.
horse got beaten earlier. Olivia Meralda.
Oh, yeah, Olivia Meralda.
Every
really.
horse seems to have cost 400 and something guineas.
Yeah.
Got a few quid as Kia, hasn't he?
Yes,
Bristol
yeah.
advice,
And, no, but listen, a lot said about the negative side of it, about, I mean, Moose versus Beckett, and, you know, if you have a difference of opinion,
Yeah.
they're quick to move. However, it is giving some of our younger trainers, like Dave Loughnane, a big chance to show what he can do.
Alice Haynes.
Alice Haynes, absolutely.
That fella Adrian Murray in Ireland. Got
There
a
you
few.
go.
It's kind of like Chelsea and the Abramovich sort of way of doing things. We turn over so many different managers, but there'd be sustained success.
You should come to Watford. You'd love it.
Oh, cool, yeah.
You should
How
come
many
to
for
Watford.
Watford the last 6 years? Like 11 or something?
Listen.
Yeah, but it doesn't. You do get promoted to the Premier League. Admittedly, you get relegated again. But.
Personally, I'm going back to St Helens. It's Liverpool's night tonight, according to most people on the panel, and we are near that in Haydock. And we have a money-back special race, Barry. It is the 220, and I imagine a lot of Royal Ascot handicap hopefuls line up here.
Yeah, this is the money back special race now, Dave. And Marajan is you're ahead of the market at, well, no, he's not actually. Contact now is favoured at 4.1, Marajan 4.2, 5.3, Forza Orta. So the 4-year-olds are holding sway at the head of the market. As you can see in your graphic there, money back is a free bet if your horse fails to place in this race. That's 1, 2, 3 are the place terms here in Haydock. That's on Exchange and Sportsbook. Check out your T's and C's there. But the horse I fancy in the Kate is Marajan. What we're going to do, we're going to set our own odds here, please, Kate. And we're going to look to back Marajan. We're looking to have 50 quid on it, and we're looking to have it on at 4.7 because there is money for Contact and Forza Orta. So if you put in the odds box there, 4.7 and 50 quid we're looking to have on it, that'll go into the lay section, and we want someone to come in and back that with us. He's a horse. He's never been out of the top 3 in 5 runs. He's won in Ripon and Hamilton. His third to Surrey Golden York on soft ground over a 1.6 I thought was a decent performance. 1.5 mile perfect for him. But the other 4-year-olds, you have to respect him. But I think this horse could finish up a real smart prospect by the end of the season. I think you'll see him and he'll graduate into group company and over a 1.5 miles. He's a gelding, obviously. I think 1.5 miles is his trip, and he'll contest some of the top open class group races as the season progresses.
This firm, Barry, you know, at the moment, with horses like this, they're just winning everything, aren't they?
They're a stabler in particularly good form, aren't they? They're just really, really flying at the moment, and long may it continue.
Yeah.
It's interesting that Jim Crowley, obviously, he rode it when it beat Forza Orta in Leicester. Forza Orta is a shorter price than him. He's out to 5.4 Forza Orta, but his form ties in with Marajan. And I really like Marajan. He's a horse I'm going to stick with this year. I think he's gone places.
Yeah, it's hard to disagree with any of that. There's just one in here that I'm going to take a bit of a flyer at. But if there's a horse that is going to graduate, maybe it's him and Forza Orta. Forza Orta's done, quite a lot already this season. When he won at York, he ran another blinder there. Interesting to see him out again quickly here. Maybe they're trying to get him up the handicap a bit. He's got some form with Contact. Obviously, they met on their Thirsk run. Contact won well at Newmarket last time. I wonder whether the extra weight might against some of these. Rock Eagle, I suppose, get the other one. He's got to show he can do it on turf, but they've long thought that Rock Eagle would win a very good prize. I know he's 7, but Rafe Beckett, fresh first time. He's a classy sort. There's just an old friend of mine in here that I've got to go for, and I'm going to bang it out. and it was behind contact on his return, and it's Scarlet Dragon.
Oh, Davey's stealing my
Old friend
ideas.
indeed.
Are we really?
Yeah.
Yes.
He
I'll
needs
let you
to
take
win
the
this.
floor, Kate.
Are you sure?
Yeah, let's
Thanks
go
so
for
much.
it.
Yeah, he's a quirky customer. He needs to settle. He needs to get the splits. He's been moved to Eve Johnson Hortons after he obviously refused then on his final hurdle start at Chepstow and still trained by Alan King. Apparently he was starting to show those tendencies of planting, refusing at home. So obviously have been aimed then for to be revitalised then by Eve Johnson Horton. He was a fair eye catcher last time out on that reappearance, stable debut, 6th, and he got dropped £5 for that.
Yes.
It's either a blessing or a curse for him to get him back then into the Duke of Edinburgh, which he won 2 years ago after
His
£7
last win.
higher. Yeah, last win.
Holly Doyle's last ever winner. She hasn't ridden him much
Holly
since,
Doyle's
actually.
last ever winner.
Royal Ascot
Sorry,
winner.
I was gonna
first
say.
ever Royal Ascot
First
winner.
ever Royal
She
Ascot,
hasn't
yeah.
run him much
She's
since.
still with us, I
She
assume.
rode him in it last year, I should say, behind
Yeah.
Quickthorn, where he ran really, really well. His last race here at Haydock, he ran 6th in the Old Newton Cup off a £10 higher mark, and he got a nightmare run. It's just whether he wants a bit more juice in the ground. But if you're going to get it at this time of the year anywhere, it'll be Haydock.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Yeah, exactly.
love
So
it.
I hope so. And he needed to be 94 to get into last year's Duke of Edinburgh.
Yeah.
So he needs to win this to get in.
There you go. He's a
Wearing his-
9-year-old, but he's lovely. And watch it back. You've got time in your members club. You've got 5 minutes up until this. He tries to come, and he definitely is not knocked about by Will Buick, who
No.
took the ride in the first place. So it suggests he's in quite a good place, a 9-year-old. Anyway, I didn't think we were going to go so much on old
She's
Scarlet.
wearing a Scarlet Dragon silk.
I am
That'll
actually,
do.
yeah.
That'll do. They've got HMS
Or
President
HMS
in
President,
here
but
as
I'm
well.
not. He's a cliff horse. Never again. Watch him go and bolt up now that I've finally abandoned him.
Who's
He'll lull
that?
you in, HMS President.
Oh, yeah,
He'll
he
lull
is
you
a
in.
proper red herring horse, isn't he?
Oh,
But the
completely.
probes is on. So,
Yeah.
all right, we're getting a range of tips going down. We'll hear from you out there in just a sec. But Robbie Wilders,
Forza
complete.
Orta. What does that mean in Italian? Please send us.
Do you not know?
What does that mean? No, I'm more of a Spanish.
Like Forza Italia.
Forza Orta. Don't know,
let's
actually,
go,
yeah.
innit?
Yeah, for let's go, isn't it?
Orta. Forza Orton.
Well, do you know
Forza
that-
Orton.
Do you know at Thursday, 5:55 at Carlisle, they got it right. Everything just aligned, the stars aligned. They had something called the Great Orton Handicap, and
Ooh,
it was a
do you have a
belter.
say in that?
I didn't have a bet in the race. I just sat back and
Great
watched
Orton.
it. And it's fair to say my department were thrilled with that.
I'd love to have a race named after me.
I think there is a
Yeah.
place called Orton somewhere in the country. I don't really know,
Orton.
but
Come
anyway.
on, Orta. Yeah.
Yes.
Let's go. Come on, even. Yeah.
What does it mean?
What does
Come
Orton
on, Orta. I've no
Come
idea
on,
what
Orta.
Orta means.
So
We need to
we ought to
we need
ask
to
Adam
establish
Ryan
what
and
Orta
Kevin
means.
Ryan what it means, but he's a talented horse. So we've gone through. Let's hear maybe from a couple of you out there. And
means,
reminder, this is your money
kitchen
back
garden.
special. It's your chance to get involved at 2:20. Loads of characters here, and it'll be the mile 4 Royal Ascot handicap for whoever wins this. You would imagine. Barry, how's the market moving?
4.4 Marijan, 4.3 Contact, 5.3 Forza Orta. Out of the three at the top of the market, Forza Orta is the weakest. 9.8 HMS President is the shortest of the owners two there. I know you guys like Scarlet Dragon. That's 12.8 to 15. 13.5 Rock Eagle, 18 Bar.
Thank you, Barry. Okay. All right. Forza Orta is a reference to Leeds director of football, says Tom Barras. Victor Orta, and it does look like the sort of colours,
Not
doesn't it, as
kitchen
well?
garden.
There you go.
Where's
Thank
that
you,
come
Tom, for that. Obviously, I don't know, Tom, are you a Leeds supporter? That
Probably
was
down
a
the river.
Sunday, wasn't it, man, if you are, last week. We're just building up some social tips out there as well. Owners are big Leeds fans. Great stuff. Yeah, if you're going to have a horse, I guess it's Thirsk, isn't it? And the great Ryan stable there. We're hopefully getting Adam Ryan back in the studio soon, actually, funnily enough.
Kevin Ryan aiming for the E-ball with Forza Orta as well. So
You'd think
boy,
so,
oh
wouldn't you?
boy, does he need to go up the weights? Because I mean, you need to be rated by 105 to get into that.
Those
that
early
horse
mile
that beat
4
him,
York
yeah.
handicaps are often a precursor of getting a horse up there, aren't they? Illa Arabs, exactly.
That's
you know.
the horse that beat him on that last start, Ghazi. I mean, he looks a good thing for the E-board, doesn't he? I know he's been entered in the Irish St. Ledger, which
There you
is
go.
quite a step up then for him, but he looks
It's a
proper
funny
E-board.
race, though,
Listeners
the
did
Irish
the
St.
double
Ledger.
last season, though, didn't they?
Is it a
good
group?
point.
Is it a Group 1 really, the Irish St. Ledger?
Yeah, I know. It is
Talk
one of the
about it
most
every year,
tentative
don't we?
Group ones.
Wicklow
Yeah.
Brave won it. He's a 150 rated hurdler.
There you are, absolutely. You do see some
One old
strange
boy.
results. Talking about Irish racing privately, how much is is it the Irish Cesarewitch, Barry? I saw the prize fund for that recently.
The Irish is Irish. No, I wasn't on top of that, Dave.
It's gone up to
Didn't see that.
600 grand, the purse.
It's an awful lot, isn't it?
Yeah.
600 grand.
That's a hell of a lot, isn't it?
That is
Who's
silly.
sponsoring
That is
that?
silly money.
Good
really.
question.
That's
I don't
silly
know,
money.
but we there was something about it the other day, and someone went, "Can I just be the first to congratulate Willie Mullins on his on his win in the race?"
Is that what we should be doing? Targeting races that are already going to have massive fields.
But it's just interesting, isn't it?
Yeah,
so,
it is. Yeah. Good
you
luck
know,
to them, but
Johnny Murtaugh, you think would be having the
Not my
right sort
money.
of. But
Oh, yeah.
I just was
And the
like, look,
volunteer have one in it.
it's a good news story. I think it was just a surprisingly big pot.
Why are we talking about that? It's not until, what is it, September, October, the Irish says.
Man, I think it was.
Popped
I'm
into
sure it was
Dave's
the
head, I
Says. I'm sure it was
The
the
Great
Says.
Order.
I'm sure it was. And I'm almost certain it was. All the viewers out there will now be Googling it and letting me know if that was right. Chris Timms, good to see you, Chris. I haven't spoken to you for a little while. Says, contact for me was impressive at Newmarket last time. They've always waited for this horse to click at the Barons. I call them the Barons now, of course, because it's David Nicola Baron. And he's got the draw, hasn't he? So a good run. I just wonder if he's just shown his hand a little bit. They've tried him over further. Maybe this is his year. He's a 4-year-old.
It's tricky
now.
for the Barons though, because you associate their horses with that steady improvement, don't you? With
And 7
as they get
furlongs.
older, yeah. So it is. It's tricky to sort of cap any of the Barons' horses. I find with the improvement that they do show for this yard over that steady amount of time.
Yeah. I'm looking at some more. Let's go and have a look. Look, Kelly Glenn feeling Fonza.
you're
each way.
going to make a loss. I'm sorry to say if fours are out of places.
Feeling Forza, it should say each
Because
way.
he
Well
is
done,
quite
Kelly.
short
Yeah,
now.
okay. Listen, well, no.
Forza,
Go on, Barry.
well, just a couple of comments under that, Dave. Forza Orta, Tom Barris says, Forza Orta is reference to Leeds Director of Football,
Yeah.
Victor Orta. Owners are big Leeds fan, which is good info there. And also, Peter Plus says, Water Orton, place in the Midlands near the Belfry Golf Club, which you refused an invite to a couple of weeks ago when you weren't on the winning team.
Here comes a pelto.
This is actually
That's why you won, so be happy about it. But Paul Bakewell comes back on. Is he in the Midlands? My family mainly from the Midlands as well. The Midlands as well. Rocket Eagle may run well at a large price, says Paul Bakewell. Although known stat, horses tend to run quite well fresh and speedy after a long layoff. He is interesting, and he's sort of solid enough in the market, and James Doyle is on a quick treble as well. Great to have your interaction out there, guys. Let me know about that Irish Says. I'm sure it was. In fact, I might just...
Speaking of...
I never get a chance to research anything that I'm not doing on this. I'm like an octopus here, but you might be able to do it.
No, I was just going to say, speaking of decent stories in the racing world this week, have you seen the promotion of plant-based meals
No.
at a certain racecourse?
No, that's your...
No?
Yeah,
Because you're, of course,
David
vegan,
Bass,
aren't you?
I am, yeah.
You and Dave Bass.
Dave Bass is a vegan as well.
Yeah, he is.
And he's really plugging this. So a lot of jockeys eat like terrible nutrition sort of before and after the race day.
Yeah.
And Bass is trying to revamp a lot of menus.
Did we cover that?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, I read it this morning.
Okay.
I thought that had a great
Who was in
initiative,
charge of that? This is something you might have done, isn't it? Back in your
Nah.
old job, you might have been given that, mightn't you?
Maybe.
You're
Yeah,
now-
I used to avoid ringing people off if I could.
That probably was a joint decision, was it?
She's find it quite.
Yeah, you're
quite
right,
sort of
Dave.
awkward, yeah.
Yeah, it is. The Irish Says, Barry.
Could offer 1 million in prize money just a few years. Could offer 1 million in prize money in just a few years.
Ooh, oh,
Yeah, I think it's
Last year's edition of the 2 Mile was worth 80,000, but news this week that the race purse has been raised to a massive
There
600,000.
you go.
Sorry,
Yeah,
who's putting up
as
this?
general-
Who's putting up this money, Barry?
where's this coming?
Do we know who that's?
It's boosted by the Curragh, the HRI, and friends of the Curragh. So that
Like
would be
it.
Magners, JP McNair.
Rich Ritchie.
All
Yeah.
right places.
Whoever's
Who's
gonna
probably
be
got
willing
about
it back.
5 planned
They
for it.
moved from October to late September, where it will share weekend billing with the Goffs Millions.
Well, so look, brilliant. There you go. So look, we're coming back, aren't we, guys? This is a lot of negativity. This is a
Islander,
positive.
anyway.
Well,
Islander never never
Can I
bounds.
just say, it doesn't make horses win, but Marajan is into 3.15 now. It's nearly 2-1 chance from 7 to 2. It's been
Isn't-
absolutely murdered.
you
Forza
backed
Orton, though,
it-
has been well punted as well.
If you're back to it, you're getting really excited now because when you see late money for Haggis like this, it is exciting. They're going in there. Good luck if you're with Barry and Marajan. Myself and Kate are going for the old Scarlet, and let's see how he gets out. One of them missed it. That looked a little bit to my
was
like. It might
Scarlet,
have been
wasn't
State
it?
of Bliss, was it, that missed it? Very unusual, isn't it, to see Charlie and Mark Johnson horse right out the back having missed the kick, but he has done, unlike Zabil Champion and Tom the Pom Mark 1, with John Joe O'Neill having a runner in a big, valuable Saturday flat race at Haydock, alongside a Volcanic Sky, who again, he's capable, Volcanic Sky. He's right up there as well. Contact, to those of you that are on that out there expecting him to go in again. Lovely sit on the inside, perhaps a bit fresh under Ben Collins says, if you were being picky, Kelly's Dino, a horse for Cole Burke, who's done loads of back class, lost his way slightly. He's up there as well, looking towards the back. Rock Eagle got a nice inside sit. Marajan right in the middle under Jim Crowley. When you see Jim Crowley like this, you've got to start getting excited, right?
Yeah, he is on the bridle, isn't he, though, this favourite, Marajan? He's just, I mean, he's travelling well, he's not overdoing it.
He's settled beautifully, isn't he?
He's a little bit on it. You know,
Jim Crowley settled lovely.
Jim Crowley, he just early on there, he did have his hands off the back of his neck. He's doing his best to settle him in there. He's not doing anything extra by any means. They haven't gone a mad gallop here.
What
whatsoever.
about us, Kate?
Yeah, expected that from Scarlet Dragon. I mean, it is just for case of settling him in these early stages, which Holly Doyle always has a job on her hands to do, but he has settled well enough. She sort of broke his jaw then coming out of the gates, which is always a ploy from him, but decent at this stage, but they haven't gone that mad early gallop.
Well, that's the point, isn't it? And let's go to Barry. They've definitely slowed it down because Rock Eagle went from 5th to 1st in a shot.
Yeah, I'd like just to see Jim Crowley kick on now because we know this horse stays a mile and a half nice and handy. Into 2.92 Marjoran. Contact 6.2 has been a bit free. 4.3 Forza Orta, and it's 12. It's around 13.5 bar those. So race is really hottening up now with getting Rock Eagle getting a solo.
Now they're putting their pedal to the metal. Look at Universal Order, one of the outsiders, Danny Muscat. He's absolutely cruising. Will he get a run? But at the moment,
let Jim Crowley see you, Holly. Don't let him see you.
He's absolutely bridling. Scarlet Dragon trying to come on the outside. Forza Order a little bit bereft of ribs at the minute. Universal Order keeps catching my eye, but Contact now takes it up. It's the big ones in the market. Then Forza Order coming as well. Is it just going to be a case of first run? He's having a blow, Marajan. Contact's got first run and he's got fitness on him as well. And Universal Order, look, now he's coming. Danny Muscat, can he get him up on the line? Contact has gone though, I think. Marajan just flattening out. You can see them while they're trying him over a mile 5. Here comes Universal Order. He's an unlucky loser. No doubting about that. But Contact, well done. Nice. If you reach for the stars with the Baron's horse. 2 from 3 now this season. First time they attacked. Interestingly, I want to go to you, Barry, because all eyes on Marajan. When Contact went clear, did they still expect him to fall in a hole?
They did, yeah. We traded at 5 to 2 on 1.41. Marajan traded at, and plenty done all the way down. Yeah, he travelled really sweetly into the race. Looks like he probably just needed to run. He was one pace when push came to shove. But Contact, he's definitely a horse on the improve, isn't he, Dave? He traded at a high of 15 on the Betfair Exchange in running. What was the third horse at the finish? Universal Order. He didn't trade too low. He traded low at 3, so 2 to 1 in running. Universal Order for a little over 250 quid. So, yeah, big in running news there. But Contact, definitely a horse on the upward curve. He's gone places, but I wouldn't give up on Majoran just yet.
Oh, no. No. And actually, funnily enough, when I handed to you, Kate, the old curse, I thought he settled beautifully. And you're right, he was a little bit little because they slowed it on the far side, didn't they? Rock Eagle was happy to take the midfield sit. Yeah. All of a sudden, who was on Rock Eagle, of course? It was James Doyle. He found himself in front.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to be in front, you're not going to go that quick, are you see?
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. And especially with Haydock as well, we associate it with a front runner bias then, don't we, at the best of times? And especially with the ground then drying out again, as we know as well. That, and especially when you've got this trip of a race and you're really sort of got jockeys in front there that are slowing up. You see just a few of them, the jockeys with their hands off the neck there, and you just got the impression they're not going a clip here. James Doyle was live to that. He then took Rock Eagle forwards, therefore. And it was just a little bit of a concern there from Marajan from that stage, that he was just a bit on the sort of running with the choke out, that tiny little bit there for Jim Crowley, but Contact never too far away though him. We talked about the Baron's horses beforehand, the fact that you just can't underestimate them with this improvement when they get to this age, and he's shown that again. So another one there that on the back of that, he's likely to now get put up enough to get into the Duke of Edinburgh.
Absolutely, Universal Order.
From 16 for the Northumberland Plate.
Oh, that's interesting.
Northumberland Plate.
We saw this time last week, didn't we? Valley Forge do the panel a favour under David Probert and immediately got pushed into near favouritism for that. Of course, it's the Saturday after Royal Ascot, Northumberland Plate. I was definitely thinking about Ebor immediately after Loon. Well done, Chris Timms. You told us. It was impressive indeed. He just got first run, I think, on Marajan, didn't he? And he certainly got first run on Universal Order. Now, Universal Order is a fascinating horse because you thought, oh, he got a young, progressive. That was he was absolutely cruising, Danny Muscat, on Dave Simcox. But he's a 6-year-old. And it's his first handicap he's running, certainly in Britain, for a long time. I bet they're pointing towards the E-ball with him. He's rated 102. Would you go to Royal Ascot with Contact? They've run him there before?
Possibly, yeah. One thing I will say is Forza Orta won't be getting into the E-ball.
not quite. I wonder whether that was one run a bit too soon for him there.
Maybe, yeah. He's been quite busy this season.
My reservation about it today. I might be wrong, connections out there, all you Leeds lot. But
Maharajan will do something decent, won't he? First time out.
I could see why they tried him over mile 5 on his final start, because he had a bit of a blow there and was coming back, didn't he?
Yeah.
Nice horse, I think.
Follow, yeah.
Yeah, horse to follow. Yeah, and again, could he just be one for the Ebor as well? Money lost today, unless you're with him each way, but you'll get it back, no doubt. Classy race there anyway at Haydock. We must move on, because Beverley is surely not too far away again, is it? Where are we going?
Is it 240?
Yeah, you're right, Bev, 240.
Oh, this is a tricky race, guys, this one, isn't it?
7 furlong handicap.
gosh.
I'm
Yes.
going to hand it over to Barry, because if I had to be at the bar for one race this afternoon,
This would be the one. I'd be with you. I'd even buy the drinks. Percy Ladd currently 3.8, 5.5 Wob Wob Wob, 9.8 Ugo Gregory. I'm a Gambler 9.96 Rising Star. I thought I'm a Gambler could go well in it. Just in Newmarket there a couple of weeks ago, himself and Haymaker, we watched the show here. Kate, you were on it with us actually. Haymaker, they cut each other's throat up front. And that was just 2 weeks ago. He won a Sunday series before that in Hamilton the week before from a low draw. He's a 3-year-old, so he gets £6 weight for age here, which just swings it in his favour for me. Kate, we're going to have 25 quid win. I'm a Gambler, and we're going to look to have 25 quid in the 4 places on the Betfair Exchange.
Nice.
So currently trading at evens in the 4 places. So we get our stake back in the win market if it manages to finish in the first 4 and doesn't win.
I would very much like 4 places for my selection as well, which we will get to. This race last year did me a right favour. I remember we covered it in the studio, and Byron's Choice came home on soft ground for Michael Dodds. It was a good memory there. Mark Johnson, the trainer of I'm a Gambler, won this the year before. Only 2 3-year-olds have tried to run in this race in the last couple of years for 1 place as well. So they, we often associate, don't we, when do we switch to the 3-year-olds getting the weight and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I remember Henry Cecil used to say after the King George, didn't he? I'm sure that was his famous line. That's when you start. Of course, we go to the Glorious meeting and we see Mark Johnson capitalising with all these lowly weighted 3-year-olds for about 2 weeks, don't we?
After the King George, then, really? Is that what it was? Is that what
I
the
think
saying was?
that's what Cecil used to say. It's around about the time. Whether you go with that or not, you could go maybe right. Ascot time. I don't know, but this would be considered a bit early, is what I mean. But tough old race, Rob.
So hard, yeah. I mean, I'm like Barry and yourself. I would rather not be.
You'd be having a plant-based drink.
They mainly are, actually. I mean, there's a lot of like fish guts is used to.
I believe that vodka's made out of potatoes and little gin or something.
Yeah,
I know you like a few of them.
I do like G&T, yeah. So if anyone sees me about, please. You're probably not going to actually. But anyway, my fantasy was tentatively Ugo Gregory.
Oh no.
Everyone's getting in there before me.
Me?
Oh, Kate, come on. Kate, please, you say.
Oh, no, I don't, because the last time I took it away, look what happened with Scarlet Dragon.
Yeah, you need to do this.
You can do
we need
this
to
one.
switch up here.
But it's not a good case. Well, I mean, like, he just goes really well at Beverley. He's back down to his...
3 from 6.
Yeah, exactly. 3 from 6. The last time he ran off 78. Beverley won. Been a bit out of form this season, but Tim Easterby can bounce back.
He's been weak in the market, Ugo Gregory, Barry, isn't he? He was nearly second favourite earlier in the day.
Massively weak. He was into a 7-2 chance at one stage, would you believe? He was put up. You guys are in good company, because the Racing Only Better podcast that we do on Betfair with Tony Calvin, Kevin Blake and Dan Barber from Timeform, all 3 of them landed on Ugo Gregory, and it's very rarely they do that. So he's out to 12.5, Dave. Another one that's stinking to high heaven, just as Par Far did earlier on in the Hillary Neater.
We're all shrewd judges, aren't we? That's for sure. Paul Bakewell says, boom, money back, LOL. Rock Eagles stayed on well, although only about 6. There you go. So Paul Bakewell taking advantage of the money back offer from Betfair. Shall I try and guess why? It's interesting, on Barry's podcast, 3 went for it. And we're all probably saying, well, this is a bit of a tricky race. And yet here we are, 3 have gone for it, right? Yeah. So theoretically, we're all quite strong on this. Yeah. But there probably is a reason for this, I think. Because if you're looking at this race without going forensically into everything, he's the one that you can easily make a case for maybe being targeted at the race.
The obvious
and you see a bit of money for it. It's the Easterbys. They're running well. He's in 6, course specialist. However, I don't like an Easterby drifter. There was a horse called Bolin Joan at Ripon in the week who drifted and won. But I've been around long enough.
She beat old Rogue Bear York.
She did, and she's got a great rip and record, and she turns out quickly. And I was nearly going to nap her on Thursday, but I didn't. And I saw the money, and she'd SP'd a winner at 11-2. She was around about 7-2. I've been around long enough to know that they don't mind a punt, the old Easterbees, and especially when they're targeting their horses.
Money is not
Listen,
down.
it's part of the game, isn't it? When you've got an owner. I mean, these are obviously very well-known colours. It's Frank Gillespie, of course, who had the Grey Gatsby, one of the greatest greys that we have seen, nearly slipped there, in a long time. And Frank wouldn't necessarily need to get his stable fees with a gamble.
Yeah.
But the Easterby, if you've got a horse with a trainer now and you want to pay your training fees, what do? You target a race, you have a bit on, happy days. You get the prize money, but you also get a bet to win as well. It's the beauty of being an owner. It's the beauty of our game. I'm slightly worried about this.
Yeah, I am as well, big time. But drifters win.
Alternatives.
Bolin Joan did.
Yes, absolutely. So
Our
they
early
do.
selection didn't, but
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, drifters lose as well, but
Okay, let me have a look. More socials. Yeah, let's have a look. Let's get them down. We needed that. Oh, Devo joins us back and says, quite fancy.
what a comment that is.
still Devo.
Why is that made you laugh?
Devo, that's superb.
Oh, hang on a minute. Wob, 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 here to smash in for the dubstep fans. Is wob,
You know what
wob,
dubstep
wob.
is?
Of course I know what dubstep is.
I mean, of course you do.
You
This
know
man used to be a
what
basement jacks. Of course
I know
knows
what
what
dubstep is. That doesn't mean I like it.
You know what
but
dubstep is?
you would listen
Yeah, I
to that
wasn't
on
a
your way
fan.
in, would you?
Way more
It
drum
only
and bass.
lasted. It was only like
literally
big for
was-
about a year.
Yeah, and it
How old are you?
was poxy. 28.
I'm the same as me. Like, yeah, it was literally from like when we were about 18 to.
Yeah,
19.
I didn't like it at all. I've always been drum and bass, drum and bass.
Drum and bass.
Amen
Still.
break is my everything. That's when dubstep came along, it was just the phony version. It was just, oh no.
Bit of
wasn't a
poxy,
fan.
yeah.
Who
And
knew?
everyone did this thing called a skank. Where everyone like went like this.
Yes.
Like that. Like in a club. Like that.
And here we have a horse that if it wins, I want to see you doing the skank, all right?
Yeah.
Well, I've got back
Whatever
the
that
horse, so I
means.
won't be doing that. Well, as I pointed out,
A lot
on
of
what-
people have backed this horse. Ryan Sexton is a very interesting rider, bringing it back to the racing. He's
Let's not do
he's
that.
sort of come out of nowhere, but he is going to make a charge, I think, for the leading apprentice.
Yeah. Harry
he's
Davis
got a
got
lot
something to
of
worry
good
about,
northern
hasn't he?
support. Adrian Keatley is a very interesting trainer when the money is down, as we all know. And this guy has got some decent back form. He's got a top racing post rating of 94. He's here off 84. So from stall 5.
Classic winning trainer, Aidan Keatley.
Yeah, absolute.
Jet
Oh, my
setting.
Lord.
Who could
Well
forget?
done. Thank
Mine
you.
and banged her head in the stalls.
Who knew that you would get that quickly?
My race knowledge is pretty good, mate.
Well, you are right. Classic winning trainer, of
Arrogant.
course. Yeah.
Sure,
It's
if
in
you
there
can't say it
somewhere,
for
isn't it?
yourself,
We
then
should
who
do
can?
like a race and post, like Christmas quiz or something, shouldn't we? Like form over the
Hosted
last
by
like, 5
Melrose.
years. Yeah, you wouldn't want to take him on, would you?
You definitely wouldn't want to take him on.
Jumper.
Keith Melrose will be back during Royal Ascot Week. We've got him in a couple of days. He's not going to miss out.
He has a
that, is
race named after him, Robbie.
Oh,
Oh,
the
he
Melrose
does.
handicap at York. Yeah.
Is there a
It's not the
Wilders?
purple jumper stakes.
Someone called you Rylan yesterday on the. Someone said,
Rylan
"Why have they got
Clark Neal."
Rylan on this
I've
show?"
got a
again?"
lot of time for Rylan.
Because
He's
we've got
quite funny.
Deontay Wilders, haven't we? And now we've got Rylan. There's keep them coming. by the way.
Rylan, I
I'm
mean-
enjoying these.
If you could wear a Ryland-inspired outfit next time, like you
Is
did
this
for the
the kind of thing-
Eurovision
this
semi-
he might
Let me
wear
tell you,
feathers.
Rylan is a very
Great.
accomplished broadcaster. So
I know, I've got a lot of
bit
time for him.
work
He's
to
he's
do.
on that Cinch advert at the moment.
There you go. Yeah.
Cinch my motor.
Does no one like this favourite then? Bringing
Why
it
do I
back?
know? What you
Because you
mean?
watch the telly, like
I do.
right.
Too much.
I've got a lot of time for
apparently now.
Rylan, but I'm straight, yeah.
Well, so what? So what? You look
That's-
like him.
But yeah, I don't know if that's one I'd rather be compared to maybe other geezers, you know.
Well, I don't know. Listen, well, I'm afraid at the moment you're not. Does no one like this fav? William
I'm just
Buick.
concerned he's going to get taken on for the lead by I'm a Gambler.
Does he have to lead?
Yeah. It's definitely
You
been
think
seen to
so?
best effect on those last 2 starts anyway. But in the Kublers we trust this season, isn't it? I love their way of training. They love analytics and trends and
The Kubler,
statistics.
yeah,
Science.
really good
Brilliant
article that in the week,
science
wasn't it?
behind
Jonathan Harden, a very good friend of mine.
Yeah.
Put
Oh, I
together
went to
some
journalism
research,
school
yeah.
with Jonathan.
Did you?
Yeah, we were at journalism
Oh
school.
no, actually, he did tell me that. Yeah, he told me.
He was on
you
the
and him
sports
go
course.
quite
I was
far
on
back,
the normal.
One of our
course.
brightest young minds. I call him
Brilliant.
Clark
Yeah,
Kent.
he's a bit negative though.
Well, when he takes
I
off
don't
the
know if
glasses,
he's
he
like that when
comes to
you
life.
do, but he's a bit of
We
a
don't
downer.
like this fav, but we like the Kublers, yeah?
Yeah, love the Kublers. I'm just concerned that Percy's lad might be taken on for lead, but he is very progressive. He was very good as a 2-year-old, not so great as a 3-year-old. Has definitely come back in really good style now at 4. And there obviously should be more to come from him, but I am concerned about that pace.
96 looks pretty high, doesn't it, when you're looking at this? However, sometimes you can be a bit clever with a race, viewers, can't you? And maybe that's what we're trying to do with Hugo Gregory, who continues to stink.
He's out to 17.
Go on, what's happened?
I've gone
what are we doing?
and taken about 11, thinking that was value.
Have you?
And now it's not looking so good.
No, I was going to say,
you're putting your money where your mouth is, Wilders. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, absolutely, but that money's going straight into Barry Orr and the rest of them's back pocket.
Yeah, we're going to talk a bit more about Thursday after this race as well. Samuel Hart is producing this afternoon. Says we ought to be talking about Bay Bridge, of course. I'm very interested to see what Barry thoughts about that.
Definitely.
Well, he's a whoosh machine, isn't it? But we'll get to it after this race because they are going in. Percy's Lad going in looks an absolute picture. There's Percy's Lad going in. What else have we got? Will he get taken on by I'm a Gambler?
But then the pace of our first 2 races at Beverley has been very significant, where the pace is held up. The first winner of the first race we didn't cover, Maydall.
Yeah.
Next race, Star of Lady M and Primrose Ridge were always prominent.
Yeah.
So.
That was on the straight track, of
So
course. But no, it can be a front-line track. It's a weirdly, subtly stiff climb to the finish at Beverley. It's a great track, isn't it? You never really get small fields at Beverley. That's what I've always admired about it. Let's see if the kickback is indeed here that Stevie Donohoe was telling us about yesterday. Hugo Gregory's yet one to go in. I'm a Gambler just on his toes a little bit out the back as well. The 8 horse. A groan from Barry, having seen that. If there was one fish in here that could catch them all out, it's Rising Star, by the way, who's got form with Highfield Princess on the all-weather. If she ran to that form, she'd be really hard to beat. But she's been too free. She's had excuses made for her. Stefano Church, she takes the ride from stall 4. If they go too hard, it was just you talking about I'm a Gambler and Percy Dad that made me look at her. So I've had a little bit on Hugo Gregory and a little bit on her, but tough race.
Yeah, it's so tough. This drift on Hugo Gregory continues, and it's just making me so nervous when
Despite
I think
the fact that panels all over the land are in unison.
Yeah, he's handicapped well. He loves this course and distance. He's got the quick turnaround we know he appreciates. I don't see what's not in his favour.
All right, they're off and running. Good luck then if you've sided with the unison also Hugo Gregory. He's in around about 3rd place at the moment, looking for a share of the lead actually. Duran Fentiman. Again, you want to get in on Beverley. It is the notorious low draws. We're going to Chester, of course, in around about an hour's time. Low draws all the way there, but to the front, he's got there. It's Percy's Lad. I wonder whether the market's reacting. Some were worried about him getting taken on. Hugo Gregory in pole position if he does fall. What's that? Aaron Moore, a horse that's got a good record here, some good form last year. Showed nothing on his return, but you can often forgive him that. Wob, skanking it in 4th place at the moment. Let's have a look back. We've got Rising Star settled really nicely, actually. What is this? Of course, Flame of Freedom on the outside. Eve Johnson Houghton could be a big half an hour there with the favourite coming up in the next. One that's not liking it at all is Twilight Secret for Gaunt out there at the moment. And now they start pressing on the gas, guys. Who do we like?
Hugo.
Hugo's in the position, isn't it?
Surely it's between these first 3.
No excuses for Hugo here. No. Surely not.
But does Percy's Lad, does he just make all here?
I'm a Gambler. I'm a Gambler's coming on, actually. He could be it. Wob as well. Hugo's running around a bit. Percy's Lad, the progressive. Now Hugo's going for it.
Come on, the
Here
drifter.
comes I'm a Gambler from Barry as well. We're all in with the fight. Hugo's got a massive race despite the drift. He's going to hang it away, though. I think the 3-year-old's going to take this. What a ride this was.
All over the place, I'm a Gambler.
Perfectly judged, indeed.
Oh, that was.
Percy's Lad's run an absolute blinder. They didn't take each other on at the front, they did at the finish, and that has hosed up. Hugo Gregory got the place. If you were with it, what a strange drift that was. Every single chance. Well done, Barry.
Very well done, Barry.
Mad drift on Hugo, wasn't it? And he's ran well, I suppose, taking that into account. Percy's Lad traded a low 2.10 in running, so 11 to 10, bang on 11 to 10. Hugo traded a low of 2.22, so his layers who chased him all the way out to 20 had a little squeaky bump time there, but they do get their cash after all. Yeah, but I'm a Gambler. The 3-year-old, yeah, we might revise that. Down back to 3-year-olds in the way for age handicaps until after the King George. I take a look at that gladly. Thankfully, Mr. and the 2 Johnsons didn't hold sway with them. They're always keen to run the 3-year-olds and get the way for age in the handicaps throughout the year. They
are. They could do it any time of year, I suppose. They've just shown, haven't they? And that is a progressive horse there, isn't it? He's off 89. He's going to be going up what? We've been Percy's Lad cold there, isn't he? He's obviously getting a lot of weight, but you're going to be looking at a mark in certainly about 95, you'd think, for that.
Yeah, that will get him into that big field York handicap, or all that. But
Britannia, is it John? Yeah, it's of course early owner, of course, John Brown, isn't it?
Like you say, if you're getting, I was thinking the what was it? So 7.5 furlongs, the York handicap I was thinking of, but you go Britannia. route them.
Well,
with them instead.
it's such a valuable pot and a prestigious
Yeah.
race, isn't it? If you've got a horse that can get into it, it's progressive.
Yeah.
With the one next to its name, you tend to go there, don't you? There was a horse that won the first called Jimi Hendrix at Haydock. I was
Hey.
seeing quotes for that.
Hendrix fan, are you?
Yeah.
Hendrix gin.
I was going to say, we're talking gin or are we talking... Yeah, I knew you were going to
You
turn it
talk
back to
either.
gin.
You can see I'm with
Yeah.
the youthful panel this afternoon. Am I a Hendrix fan? Yeah. It's not, you can't not be.
My
a-
predecessor, Tom Collins, obviously famously a cocktail as well.
He was a Tom Collins, wasn't he? And it was actually the same colours that Jim is the
Yeah.
Chelsea Thoroughbreds. So there you go.
Yeah.
A useless horse, wasn't it? No comment. Right. No, we love TC. All right, okay.
No, we
2:55.
don't.
We've got to go there. We're finally getting some group action here on the show. It's been pandemonium
Time,
trying to
eh?
keep these two in order, I can tell you that much. But the class is about to rise. Barry, who do we like in the Pinnacle?
Yeah, I was looking at taking on Sila Rosa, but out to 11-4 now and drifting all the time. I'm not just going to chase her price out because obviously I think she might need the run, but I just at the market's not right for me at that price. I do like Lady Hayes to run a big race here. 3.7 Sila Rosa, Climate 6.2, who has a big chance. Noon Star, chance 6. Nelly Quickly 7.2. There had been money for that this morning, but that's back out. Sliding back out the price of Nelly Quickly. Lady Hayes is 10. Second to Bartzella and Goodwood last month over a mile and a half. Stayed on well to a filly who looks a nice prospect. I just thought her second to Alpinista over course and distance in the Lancaster Oaks last year was a decent run, and her second to Abfinaidum in the height of fashion in Goodwood last May as well was another smart run. She's a filly that she wants every yard of this trip as well. So at 10.5, please, Kate, we're going to look to have 25 quid win on Lady Hayes at 10.5. Happy to be a price taker. And in the 4th place market, she's currently trading at around the 11 to 10 mark. We're going to have 25 quid on there as well.
Perfect. Well, good.
We're on.
We are.
It's interesting colours, isn't it? The Shanahan colours, of course. She's not always been in these colours. I remember running it.
No, she hasn't. No.
Yeah.
No.
She was Mrs. H.
was
It
both
was
by
George
them, yeah.
Bolton's colours. And I remember that Haydock run, of course, on the 3rd of July behind Alpinista last year in the Lancashire Oaks, where she pushed a Grade 1 winner very close indeed. Came back to form last time against Bartzella. I can see it. I can absolutely see it. Will she stay would be the question mark, I suppose, isn't it? Let's see what Roger says in his... she has good course and distance form, all right, fair enough. And a repeat of her Lancashire Oaks run. But is she going to get outstayed? I guess that's what I should have said. Roger doesn't think so. And Ray Dawson, one of my favourite riders out there. I'm always banging Ray's drum. He's a really, really solid jockey for my money. So I can definitely see that. I wouldn't want to be back in the favourite. I wouldn't want to be laying up. Barry showing exactly why you can change your mind with these things. And listen, it's these colours, isn't it? You know, the Sea the Stars colours, and they've
colours,
just been having
Yeah, they
ridiculous, beautiful
Pyjamas,
colours.
that colour.
You would like some. You would
You
like
can
some
get those
PJs.
racing onesies. Have you seen those?
Really?
Yeah. They're really good.
Have we
What would you
delved
go
into
for?
them?
Yes, of course I have. Of course, any gimmick
Go
and I
on.
buy it. I am the worst for spending money on stupid things I don't need.
Racing tat.
Yeah, so it's a full onesie, and you've got like the white breeches, and then you've got black sort of socks. It's all in one, and then your colours on the top, and the hood is your hat silk. Really cute. Way
Who
more.
would you go for?
I went for, it was back at Philip Hobbs's, so I went for the Time Hill colours because I looked after a horse, Woodford County, ran in all the staying
That's a
races.
quite obscure one.
Yeah, they were really
have
cool
any other,
colours
like,
and all.
decent horses.
Time Hill, they're unbelievably lucky. They used to have War Sound.
Oh, yeah, I remember that
horse.
horse, actually.
Who was never fulfilled his full potential with
Good
so
horse.
many issues. Woodford County, Time Hill. Yeah, they've got. They didn't spend much money, but they always got the wins.
This is great promotion as well.
Yeah.
That's a good question, actually. This is what I love about this show, is we never know what where we're going to go
No.
sometimes.
Absolutely
What
broke.
what would your ultimate racing onesie be? Mine would be Gigginstown, I think.
John Magnier has just quite sharp on it.
Oh, you would go for the Hawk Queen colours.
I'd
You're a
have a
bit
John
quirky
Magnier
as
silk
well.
dressing gown.
You've
if
got a
that one
dodgy
was
head carriage. You'd look good in a Magnier onesie. What about you, Barry? Favourite colours?
I like the second colours of Magners, the Sue Magners colours,
Yeah.
the pink.
Cerise,
pink.
some might even say.
No, that's pink. That's definitely pink. That's not cerise.
Okay.
This is
Yeah,
cerise.
nice.
Oh, there's an image, actually. Can you imagine that? Barry having
Barry
his
in his
Desperado
cerise
over the
onesie.
show with his missus, the Desperado in the Sue Magnier onesie.
Which are your favourite
Marvellous.
Ballydoyle colours?
Well, Barry
Mine are the
Doyle.
Smiths.
Oh.
Don't know about Westerberg ones.
No, I'm not.
No, me neither.
I'm
A
not sure about
newcomer.
those.
Not keen on them.
Not oh god, I wouldn't
That's
mind.
the
I
word.
wouldn't mind a slice of his fortune.
Oh yes.
The Swiss.
I'll throw
billionaire, of
another
course.
nice Clipper Logistics. I quite like.
Yeah, they're cool, aren't they?
Just keep
Not bad.
it simple.
Not
Great.
bad. Not
Great.
bad. Clipper Logistics. Yeah. Okay. What about the discordantly colours? You remember those?
Oh,
The patchwork
horrible.
of Jesse
Yeah.
Harrington.
Almost as bad as that dartboard that.
Escobar
yes.
in your
Gulliver.
Gulliver.
Yeah.
Wow, great colours, really,
know
because
about
they're just
the,
different, aren't they? What about Noon Stars colours in this?
Job on there.
Frankles.
Lovely colours.
I
Lovely.
bet
I
there are some
wouldn't
Frankel
wear
onesies
it.
out there.
To be fair, my nan used to have some curtains that look like that as well.
Yeah.
Thanks, John.
What, like Abdullah curtains?
Yeah, they're literally like pink, green and white.
What, you just used to stare there going,
It's just
you
funny.
used to think to yourself, dancing,
It's funny. When you
bro.
follow racing, you see people wearing certain gear, don't you? It reminds you of silks.
Yeah, absolutely.
James
Everyone's got their
Steve-
favourite silks, right? Let's open that up to the floor. Let's get some onesies coming in. Great question.
One of our reporters
Who
turned up
knew
to the
you'd
office
come up
once.
with something like that? I know you
One of
will.
our reporters, James Steve, turned up to the office once. He was wearing like a polo with navy blue and pink hoops. And I just said, "Oh, you're wearing your Benatar silks today, aren't you?"
Very good. You see,
He never wore it
absolutely.
again.
Never wore it again.
We'll talk about
Nah,
Noon
well, not in
Star
front of
in
me,
this
at
for
least.
Sir Michael. We've got, 5 minutes to do this. We will get to Bay Bridge, not quite yet. Noon Star, little bit underwhelming, wasn't she, when she came back, despite the fact she won? I like Climate here. She looks like she's on the slide a little bit, but we saw her running during at a Guineas weekend. I'm amazed that they've not really gone with her over this trip. She's a half-sister, or sister maybe even to Curvy, who you might remember for Doyle, who was a
Doyle.
proper stayer. I think she's in Australia. James Doyle's on. I quite like her as one of my better selections today, actually.
Yeah, like climate, don't like climate change.
Don't change your mind.
Veganism.
Yeah. I hope you're aware of what's going on out there.
After spending a few times in the studio with you, I am now.
Watch.
We'll give you your
I'll
own
give you
show.
some
This is not the
I'll
platform.
give you some documentaries to watch.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
If it's
About,
that Seaspiracy, I didn't
yeah.
actually watch that.
Well, you're going to need to.
Really?
Because
I'm getting some silks coming in, guys, by the way.
yeah, what we having?
The Wertheimer and Frears, the solo colours, the Goldicovas. That would be a good one, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Got it.
All right, okay. So I'm Climate in this. Kate, who are you tipping?
Sila Rossa, in the hope
Oh.
that the William Haggis form can just continue.
Whenever she does this, whenever everyone tries to look away from the family, she goes for it. I seem to remember saying "Well done, Kate" after a race.
Oh no, don't put the mockers on me after the day I've had so far now. I need
But
this.
you can only go up, right?
Yeah, to be fair, it really can after Scarlet Dragon. Yeah, Sila Rossa, just such a typical improver from the Haggis yard. Progressed through the ranks last season, won 4 of her 7, ended with that listed win. And you just know when William Haggis has his horses where they need to be to take this step up in grade. He just has them perfect for it
Yeah.
as well. And again, the trends of this race, 11 of the last 13 winners of this race came into it on the back of a top 4 finish in a pattern race last time out. So that's a tick in the box for Climate.
That's a typical Kate stat, that is.
Yeah, Sila Rossa as well, and Lady Hayes then for Barry. So yeah, that's for those 3. Yeah, you would have made a significant profit from those.
Can I nullify that by saying only one of the last 10 has won first time out? Manuel de Vega. Do you remember in
You two have done
2020?
your research, haven't you?
Well, it's just here in front of me.
Just I throw it back. I hit it back to him, and he bats it back to knock my
I like a
horse
bit
then
of
back
tennis.
out the
Some
park.
good,
Yeah.
some good fillies have won this. Journey for John Gosden. She ended up winning on Champions weekend. Batil, do you remember her? She was very good. God Given. Henry Candy's got one in here.
Speaking of Journey, George Murray watching the show likes George Strawbridge's colours. So
Yeah,
I'll go along with that.
classic
Yeah.
colours, aren't they?
Classy.
Talking about Journey as well. Absolutely, very much. So
Hey, I
you were-
can't figure out your accent because you sound southern, but then you say like after and like last.
Yeah. No, I am. You got the after bits caught up in Cornish.
Ah, West Country, yeah.
Yeah. So I give myself away with every other word
Last,
of a sentence. Yeah, last, after, bath. Yeah.
Adding up now.
Alsa Carb
sorry.
silks are beautiful, says Devo.
Which silks?
The
Devo.
Trèves colours.
Oh yes, yeah. Clev.
I can sleep in them.
There's
I'd
my
happily sleep
favourite
in them.
colours winning.
Yeah, the Paul Smith colours.
I love the Smith
Yeah,
colours,
the
they're
Smith
so
colours.
cool.
Lovely guy, Paul Smith. And his dad as well, Derek. All right, so we're digressing slightly, but we're having some fun.
Fun
what
to
about
digress.
What about Nell quickly, Barry? This is Holly Doyle. This is a winning machine last season. First time out, but the market likes it.
Yeah, the market did like it, but another one that's on a massive slide out to 8.6,
Oh.
having been a 7-2 chance this morning. Obviously, the race in Newmarket, the handicap that it won off 89, it was a good performance after having after coming back for her first run of the season. her debut run of the season. She had ran in August before that into October, so she has to overcome that break that she has now as well. She wouldn't be for me. I can see why she's sliding as well. I think she was a false price earlier on, and she's getting bigger all the time. 8.6 now.
Interesting market.
All the horses I like today are just drifting massively.
I know, that's what I feel like today. Everything that we've all sided with has just been a
Climate,
massive
I thought
drifter.
they would be showing some more love for her. Yeah, she really is at the back, isn't she? Let's
been
have a look at the winning
interesting in
SPs
place.
of the horses in this race because we're not far towards the off. Actually, we had a spate of winning favourites. As the aforementioned Journey was even money. Batil 2-1. She was a crack French mare, you remember. And God given as well for Luca Kamani when he was training, of course, in 2018. Bar that, there aren't many big price winners of this, actually. Looking down, just Sultania or Sultanina. That's actually right. For John Gosden out there. Because has got a runner in here, of course, haven't they, the Gosdens? They've got Delectable You, who, looking at those, again, who likes those silks?
Quite nice, yeah. Lloyd Webber knows
great.
the knows
Lloyd
the time
Webber,
of day,
wasn't
doesn't
he?
Yeah,
Time
Lloyd
of day.
Webber.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Too darn
Good
hot.
to see you turn up to that, yeah.
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 Lloyd Webber onesie.
Yeah. Imagine going to audition for him in a Lloyd Webber
Oh,
onesie.
you wouldn't even have to sing or
He's
perform
strange
in
enough
any way.
in silks, let alone
He'd just
in
be
a
like this,
onesie.
done, darling. You know.
Yes.
Absolutely
You have the
true.
part.
She's a slow burner, I think, this one. They tried to get a win out of her actually in December 2020, she's obviously had her problems, but you know the breeding will be there. They're going for some black type, but Frankie's on, and she's in the outside stall. You might have thought there'd been some more love for her. Will Sela Rosa be the real deal? Another one on the production line for William Haggis, who, since we had him in this studio and watched out, has just absolutely taken off again.
I'm trying to take credit for his form.
We did it last year as well, and he just took off as well. He said, "You just know."
Yeah.
when
We're just
it's
going to
about
use that to
take
try and
off."
book him next year as well, aren't
Well,
we?
you just know
The
when he's about to
coincidences
hit
don't
form.
lie. The coincidences don't
Trainers
lie.
are creatures of habit, and if you can pen out when they, again, we
Yeah.
get tools here at the Racing Post which show us which are their profitable months. As
Members
always,
Club
work out.
Ultimate. £30 a month.
Good plug.
Get paying.
Absolutely.
And I guess why this race goes to favourites is you're kind of looking at this for a horse to take the step up to the Lancashire Oaks, really, aren't you? Over the same course and distance then.
Joe
start of
Holden
July.
says Climate has lost a leg. We've had a couple of drifters, as we've been saying, haven't we?
It's all about Ugo Gregory, and he's still run quite well.
Ugo Gregory, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
Drifts are weird, aren't they?
It's the punter's,
Yeah.
Very strange.
I don't know, conundrum, isn't it, when it starts to happen?
But some gambles are strange in itself, though. And, you always think that when it sounds a cop-out when a trainer says, I genuinely don't know where the money's come from. Honestly, that's not a cop-out where they're just trying to cover their own back. Time after time, you'll have a horse that's then gambled in.
Well, let's find out who lands the gamble in this race. In the Pinnacle, they are off and running. By Starlight for last year's winner, Henry Canny wasn't the great away, but it's Folk Dance. Surprise, surprise, the Dave Simcock horse being held up out the back at the moment. Viola in some other very, very good silks as well. The Elite Racing
Yeah.
silks. We all
Soviet
remember their
song.
best horses. But it's Frankie in front from the outside stall. He's been given a freebie. The best front-running jockey in my memory.
Yeah.
I wasn't really around for the Steve Cawthon times, but he is different grade.
Favourites well lit up.
He's,
she is, isn't she? Yeah.
Absolutely. The favourite is absolutely putting like stink. Now, so is Nell Quickly. Noon Star in fourth, just behind Sila Rosa. Let's have a look for Climate. OK, not too bad in the midfield. And out the back as well, Lady Hayes, your selection, Barry.
Yeah, your favourite went out to 7-2 off the back of being very free early on. Just come in 3.95 now, 7-6 climb, 4-6 Noon Star seems to travel well in itself. Delectable You, though, like you say, Dave, is 8.0, getting a nice freebie out in front. Had a bet for SP of 11.
What is it now, Barry? What's she gone into?
Who, Lady Hayes?
No. Delectable You, sorry.
8.
Yeah, that might be Frankie from the front on a very well-bred Gosden horse, where we're all looking at a gift horse. Or will the likes of Noon Star, Cedar Rosa and Climate pounce by Starlight lit up? Nell Quickly, Holly Doyle, ensuring that Frankie goes perhaps a tad faster than he would ultimately like to. But the closers are going to have to get a move on, Robbie, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. I like where Climate's positioned at the moment.
James Doyle. He's never in a bad position, James Doyle, is he?
It's just great.
Mustard jockey in here.
He's
Yeah.
had, obviously, a lot was said about that in his career,
played
but
as
he's mustard jockey, absolutely. They
Yeah.
turn for home then. Cedar Rose is going to
flew
need an
lucky.
out if you're with Kate Tracey and Tom the Pom Marquand.
I just hope
Holly
she's got
Doyle
enough left.
keeping him in at the moment is Holly.
Yeah.
Looking plenty of
Holly, do your husband a
innuendos
favour.
there. Noon Star started to line up. Big week coming up for Richard Kingscote with Desert
it's under
Crown.
pressure
I've seen
now.
loads of Derby chat in our community. We'll be going over that.
Come on.
Climate now coming on the outside, but Cedar Rose gets the split. it.
Come
That
on,
was kind
Tina
of Frankie, wasn't it? He's
Climb
moved
it,
off,
see
and
it
Tom
out.
now attacking. I
See
think
it
this
out.
might be over.
Brilliant,
I tell you,
come
whenever
on,
Kate
Tom.
Tracey does this,
Come on,
she tends to
Tom.
put it off. Frankie
don't
looks like
jinx me.
climate might
Don't
be in
jinx me,
danger.
Dave.
Here we go.
Come
Sina
on,
Rosa
Tom.
on the
Have
inside. She's
enough
taking her
left.
time. She's
She was
first
keen
time out.
early, though.
Lady
She was keen
Hayes
early,
surely
coming
far
from
too
back.
late, isn't it? Viola closing
See
as
it.
well.
Come
The
on,
fact that
Tom.
Delectable You is still there means the
Come on,
closers
Sina
are
Rosa.
disappointing.
Keep
Sina
going.
Rosa in Haggis, we
Come on,
trust. It may not be by Eid, but
Good
they are
girl.
just winning machines out there. Viola
Oh,
flashing
yes.
home for second.
Whoa.
Nell quickly
Ooh,
hang on for third in a blanket finish.
Poor Marshall.
I
Bit of a
told
bunching
you, Kate. Don't worry. I know
done,
the formulas.
Kate.
I'm worrying today, though. Today wasn't my favourite day in terms of a betting point of view, and that's why when siding with a favourite finally, if this went out the window, then I was sort of giving up. The closer, though, goodness me, Viola, coming from the rear of the field, or near enough then, she has closed like a train there. She's actually had to take a pull, Danny Muscat. She got there at the line that fast and actually run into the back of the winner.
Yeah, I mean, she's rated 94, so she's either taken a massive step up as a 5-year-old, or we're looking at a relatively average edition of the race. We'll find out what Robbie thinks after Barry gives us the story of the market.
Interestingly, she hadn't got a lot to find with the winner, actually, Viola. They met a couple of times, so I thought it was a weird race, wasn't it?
Yeah, very.
Your
Half a
hope
length
was done
between
by
the
the pace,
second
Barry.
and fifth horse. There's an half a length. It turned into a bit of a sprint,
Yeah.
really, Dave,
Yeah.
for a 1.5 mile race. They only really start motoring at the 2 furlong marker, and the favourite had first run them at that stage. Delectable You hit a low of 2.88 on the Betfair Exchange. That was the only real low of note. Yeah, it just turned into a sprint. Really, not a very informative race for my money.
Yeah, agreed with
I would
that.
quite like it. And it would have to be sort of like edited a bit, it'd have to be, on the channels, it'd have to be edited. I'd like more mics on jockeys and things like that, because I think,
Yeah, I'd
I
really
think the
like-
chat
what
and
are
the
you doing?
screaming and the
Yes.
sounds, you can, a little, I know it's not quite like the rugby referee and all that, but I always, I'm not the biggest rugby fan, but I love listening to the refs and the players going to them. I imagine what Tom Marquand must have been saying to Frankie there on the
Yeah,
inside,
big
because
time,
Frankie literally,
Although Tom
did let him
McComb's
out.
so polite, though, would he actually?
do you think he is? He definitely doesn't talk like that.
Sorry.
Frankie could have stayed on the rail and caused your selection a lot of problems.
Could
there.
have done. We never see Frankie on the rail, though, sort of ever. That's why he rides Ascot so well, in my opinion, is that he always gives himself
So
that out.
nothing to do with Tom.
I
This is a
don't know.
Frankieism.
It's my Frankieism that I've noticed over the years, and you never see him pinned to a rail. When at Haydock,
Very interesting.
At Haydock, it's probably the
observation, that.
pacey.
Oh.
Yeah, honestly, go back and watch him now. It's at Ascot mainly. That's why he has such a quality Ascot record. In this is all my opinion. Then is because he always gives himself not even a full horse width off of the rail, just half. So it tempts another jockey to go up there, but they daren't. But they physically can't go up there, but it allows him that wiggle room. Very rarely do you see him completely pinned to a rail.
I'm sensing a Betfair column coming here.
Oh, you may.
I think Barry will be too.
Someone told me once that apparently jockeys have a chat with each other during the race.
Yeah, they do the whole
This is a
while,
well-known
yeah.
thing. This is
so
the thing
bizarre,
about you,
that.
Wilders. You're sort of like, you're just a bit random, aren't you? You
it
come
makes the
into
show a bit
racing
better, doesn't it?
and you kind of don't concentrate on things like that, which is why you've probably progressed. But that is
Pure luck.
pure luck. But that is
TC had something better on.
But that is genuinely, that is something that I think everyone's has always been so excited to know about. Certainly the jump jockeys, don't know. We know Barry, of course, the chats they used to have.
What
John
was chatting
Franklin was the
about
best
during
of
the
it.
race?
Well, they just did. If you're in the Ida, you're plodding round, a bit
I
like.
suppose you're going plenty slow.
You'd be like, how's your mum? Yeah, all good.
Yeah.
And all
What are you
that
up
sort
to
of stuff.
tonight? Where are you watching the
Yeah.
Champions League?
Where are we
Yeah,
drinking? Exactly. All that sort of stuff. Now, of course, it's all a bit more, a bit more professional, shall we
On the
say.
flat, they have less time. But the jump jockey, what some of the lads come back to and tell some of the stories they were chatting about through the race. I just,
That's great, isn't it?
yeah.
So weird.
I've been
some I
part of
can't
some of the
repeat.
WhatsApp groups that they have as well, and you can imagine. Oshie Murphy apparently was a very good chatter during a race, and
Really?
Yeah.
McCoy would always be
Chirping up one of the female jockeys.
pretty vocal, wouldn't he? Well, so look, that would have been one race I think where Tom would have been screaming. By the way, let's go back to Thursday before we go to the 3:15. Our next race at Beverley, Thursday. So many things to take from that meeting. First of all, the ride on Quickthorn from Tom Marquand while
Goodness
we're on
me.
Tom.
Oh, yeah.
Ride of the season.
Me and Rodders handicapped that race earlier. Yeah,
You are in charge of giving the RPRs to the stayers, aren't
yeah.
you?
Right, yeah, got
And
it.
can you give us
Dodgy
any
game.
clue, any indication to where you're looking for that?
We gave Quick Horn. Thorn.
Quick Horn?
I always want to call him Horn for some reason. The T is like.
It's Graham Rodway's horse, of course.
Yeah, he quite likes him, but that race, because we didn't want it, because Nate the Great was second.
Yes.
And like, strictly on the RPR formula, like really, he should have been given like a career best by like 6 or 7. We're like, that can't be right.
Well, it was a funny. He was the only one that kept tabs on him, really, wasn't he? So
Yeah, exactly.
It was a funny race. The closers were.
The time
were
wasn't terrible,
disadvantaged.
so it was, like,
it was
quite
just
hard.
a brilliant ride. Barry, did you see that Quick Thorn where he kept wide from the gates and said, "Catch me if you can"?
Yeah, he gave him a good ride, went out and made all. He was strong on him. He's a jockey riding at the top of his game, really, isn't he?
Yeah, he's brilliant. Yeah, Mr. Haggis loves him, doesn't he? What price did that have any ripples at all on the Ascot Gold Cup market with his first curveball anti-post-wise of the day?
No, none whatsoever. I don't even think we quoted in the Ascot Gold Cup. Just let me check. I was looking at the Ascot Gold Cup this morning, and Trushan's your 11-4 favourite. Kiprios is 7-2. They've turned him inside out because he could be a bit of a monkey last year. Stradivarius 4, Scope is 7, Princess Zoe 8. You've Broome in there at 12, Cleveland at 12. Can't even see that. Yeah, it's not even in that.
Quick Thorn would be about 20s for me.
Huey Morrison straight away afterwards. Two things that I picked up on his comments to us on track were, I haven't spoken to the jockey about the ride yet because it definitely wasn't the tactics.
Yeah.
He said he wanted to be up there, but that was Tom thinking on his head. But this is why it was such a good ride.
Brilliant, yeah, it's brilliant work.
And Sandown is a track where if you get them at it, we see them, don't you? Occasionally through the flat season, something can tear off. Oshie Murphy did it a couple of times last year, and you think it's gone way too fast.
You'd have to
and they
say
get the
that-
breather and kick again.
You'd have to say Thunderous was probably the 4 horse going into it because with that Stradivarius run last time in the Yorkshire Cup. But he was trying 2 miles for the first time. He always front runs, but he's obviously,
so that's
he's
Quick
obviously
Thorn.
thought, let's not give him an easy lead, get him.
Just very quickly, don't need much of a case. What wins the Ascot Gold Cup?
Kiprios.
I'm a Kiprios fan, I think, as well, if I had to play tomorrow. Kate?
Yeah, I was just looking at the betting there just to see if there was anything further down value, but I have to be on original though, and so would Kiprios as well.
Yeah,
I
there you
think
go. I've got a feeling that might go off Fav, Barry.
Yes, like Trushan, if the ground doesn't come up soft, he's a liable non-runner, isn't he?
We've got to hope it. Well, you
Yeah.
remember last season? Goodness gracious
It was
me!
good to firm last season, but
If there was ever any doubt about the competitive
This is
nature of
something
Ollie
else.
Doyle, that was that.
this is something else that annoys me though, because like we're talking about like, Princess Zoe, they're always saying like she needs soft ground. She just finished second in the Gold Cup on good to
Who
firm
beat
last
Quick
season.
Thorn, of course, and Enemy, who
So
ran well in the
too
in
much
the
is
cigar
made
ride.
of the ground for me.
She's
I'm
run well in
not
the Gold
trained.
Cup before. She'll be there. Let's hope that it's just fair level playing field for everyone. That's Ascot Gold Cup. Of course, 45 minutes later, we saw something very special. Barry, I want to come to you on this. He's 15-8 now on the sportsbook. Because he was entered in so well, the options were to move up in trip, the Hardwick people were talking about. Even some people were saying the Wolverton he might end up in. This is Bay Bridge, of course. So Michael Stout's are now 5 from 5 alls. There was danglements of 16s and 20s for the Prince of Wales Stakes.
Beforehand there was.
Beforehand.
Yeah, and it was cut into 7-2, and then the 7-2 came under pressure. That lasted about 20 seconds after they quoted it, and it was into 5-2, and now he's 15-8, clear favourite in that market. Yeah, he's going to take a bit of beating in that. That was a great ride again from Ryan Moore. Just he's riding imperious at the moment. He really is. Just happy to sit, take the lead, and then when he pushed the button, the horse found plenty for him. He looks a proper racehorse. They've been patient with him. And they're going to reap the benefit now.
Yeah, Crystal Ocean, of course, he's got such a good record, hasn't he? 11 times or something. Sir Michael Stout has won now. The Duke, sorry, what was it called? The Brigadier Gerard, of course.
Brigadier Gerard.
And of course, we broke the story this morning from Charlie Appleby that Adyar, not just missing the Coronation Cup, also missing Royal Ascot.
So that's part of why
Worries
Bay
there.
Bridge
Yeah,
is
that's why.
That's why. And I mean,
I
I'd
wouldn't
have taken him to beating Adyar anyway.
Yeah, not Adyar 1 mile 2.
What
probably
RPR
fast
did we
grounds.
give Bay Bridge? Can you remember? I haven't seen it yet.
I've not looked, but
It's going to be something you've
it'd
seen,
be like
isn't it?
123 or something like that. Maybe.
Are we
That's
talking?
just
I
what
mean,
I've got.
you'll remember, Barry, when we had Ross Briley in this show, and we all backed him for the London Gold Cup on this show. Do you remember when he looked? He's a new bay, and we thought he loved the ground that day. So Michael, interestingly, has said he'd go on anything. He looks the real deal, doesn't he?
He really does. Yeah, I was really, truly impressed with him now in the Brigadier Gerard. I just thought he's a horse that he's got gears, he travels, he seems to have a sound mind as well. Like looking at him in the parade ring before, and he was as quiet as a lamb. Really, he just seemed to take the prelims in his stride. So yeah, he's a horse that, like I said, they have showed a decent amount of patience with him. And again, Ryan Moore, he rides him every morning in his work, or when they work the horse, he's very familiar with him, and he's going to be key to his success as well if he can maintain that partnership. Obviously, I'm sure Aidan O'Brien might have something for the Prince of Wales.
Well, we shall see.
Looking down, yeah.
Let's hope he just stays sound, because of course he had that break, didn't he? So
Yeah.
I guess that will be the conundrum for him. But isn't it wonderful to see Sir Michael Stoute back with a couple of proper
Desert
horses?
Crown then for the Derby. And
We'll
then,
get to that. That's going to be our third one, I think. We'll get to Desert
Yeah.
Crown. There'll be a lot of Derby chat in our community. But Sir Michael, happy days, back up and running with some worldies, a legend of the game.
The Japanese horse is the only one then in the Prince of Wales is really,
Sharadar,
you can imagine,
whatever,
yeah,
yeah.
that you can
Yeah,
imagine
Sharadar, yeah.
giving him a race there,
The
because you
Dar-
don't know what Mishriff's in.
The Dubai horse.
I really liked Bay Bridge the other night, but I couldn't get on it. That
15
sort of
to
20
8.
to
It's a
1
race
that I
that
was
can
looking
cut
at
up, so
for the
15
Prince
to
of
8
Wales
might
is-
still look big, you know. You don't never
Yeah,
know.
well, I think he just wins. Yeah,
Just wins.
He got a 126 RPR. Like,
The reason why they
you
go
don't
to
see that-
Sandown is because it's so similar to Ascot, you know, so
Yeah.
it's but slightly shorter straight, but no problems if you've got to turn a foot like that. Look, we've got to move on to Beverley. It is the 2-year-old race of the day there, that's for sure. Very popular, Whistle and Flute has been, but Andrew Balding has a line on that horse through the Ascot run where he performed last, Barry, and Chateau, the Highclere horse, he's absolutely been smashed in, isn't he?
Yeah, smash the smithereens. 3.3 favourite now. He was 6 and 7 to 1 when this race first went up. Obviously, he was third in that race in Salisbury in the novice race. He got no sort of run whatsoever in it. 3.65 Whistle and Flute, who seems well fancied. 7.6 Rogue Spirit. JM Jungle, 8.6, and it's 10 bar. I like JM Jungle. Kate, we're going to back him win and place here. He was third on his debut to Marygate runner-up Yas Sat, then won a Hamilton maiden. The second, Legend of Xanadu, has won a red card novice since by 5.5 lengths. I think he could take another step forward. And again, Jason Hitman Hart, who did me a favour in the last races in the plate. What's not to like about him at 8.6? We're going to have 25 quid win. JM Jungle. Happy to be a price taker here. He's into 8.2 now. We'll take the 8.2. And then in the 3 places, we're going to have 25 quid on him again at around the 5 to 4 mark. 2.24, we're a price taker there, JM Jungle.
Perfect.
Barry Orr on a quick Beverley double. And I just sense in Barry's voice there, he's quite keen on this one. I've got to know that voice over the years, and that does sound a little bit like you've done your
That's the
homework
voice that means I've backed it myself.
We shall get ready for the old Yasu then. Happy days. And I can see that Jesus is saying in the quotes as well, JM Jungle to win of the Cup, that's for sure. Good luck. Harry Harlew says Chateau is the Beverley winner. Chateau, for me, I just thought that he was around about 5 to 1 when I was previewing it for our shows yesterday, and I thought it was the bet in the race without question. Maidens have won this race over the years, and Andrew Balding through a horse called Bacchil at Ascot, who beat Whistle and Flute. Again, I was there that day. We saw Fragrance advertising that form in the Hillary Needler. She ran okay, but like I said, she's small. She might not be the most progressive out there. Whistle and Flute is a good-looking horse. I would say, I know that Bacchil beat him on debut there, was expected to need the run. Looks like that will be a big player in the Windsor Forest, by the way, and that is more Ascot form we could see advertised here. He really caught my eye, Whistle and Flute. I've not gone for him. I think Chateau, luckless on debut at Newmarket, and the money is suggesting this is going to be another Royal Ascot runner for the Baldings. Kate, where are you looking?
Yeah, no, I'm going Whistle and Flute here in the hope that the experience can come to the fore. Really tricky. I really respect JM Jungle as well from still one for last year's winning yard, but they won that with Tipperary Sunset, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Quinn Yard in decent form then themselves. Completely get the angle with Chateau, obviously being an Andrew Balding juvenile as well, where you'd expect them to take a standard improvement from their debut start to their second start.
Yes.
But yeah, Whistle and Flute though, loved that on his debut start at Bath when he won by 2.5 lengths from the Chris Dwyer odds-on favourite. Then within that, it just showed really like Blatchford won it comfortably. And basically, the winner that beat him last time out, he was giving £3 to that horse. Got the better run in that race than at Ascot. And Whistle and Flute wasn't disgraced whatsoever in that conditions race. So yeah, the son of Dandy Man. Hopefully, then he will just be able to take that necessary step further forwards here.
What was that thing about Dandy Man's being best with cut? I think the stats used to back that up, but it's obviously a bit a Dandy Man, the sergeant. Who used to train Dandy Man? It was Collins, isn't it? Collins stable, yeah.
Con Collins and might have been his daughter Tracey.
Tracey. Go on, Barry.
JM Jungle, it's an interesting one here, Dave. So in 2012, Bungle in the Jungle won this race for Mick Shannon. In 2018, Jungle in the Bungle won this race for Mick Shannon. And now JM Jungle, what they have in common, obviously, Jungle in the Bungle and JM Jungle are both by
Tongue twister.
Jungle.
I I'm delighted you said that, to be honest.
Another sire who probably lucky to be a sire.
But again, 2-year-olds, right?
Well, if people are paying their money, good luck to them.
Mick
Robbie
Shannon
wouldn't be
trained.
sending any of his mares to him, Dave, would he?
Yeah, well...
Keep my mares
there you
close
are.
to home.
No, I don't think Robbie would
that mean?
fancy too much of that. Robert Cowell is the interesting trainer in this race because Prince of Lear was the last
Prince of
horse
Lear,
to win
yeah.
this and go and follow up, I believe, at Royal Ascot. Card shot from memory in 2017, ran a big race in the commentary, I think. But it can be done here.
Summer Sands also placed in the middle
Prince
part
of Lear
later
won
in
the
season.
Norfolk
Norfolk, I
Stakes
was going to say,
afterwards.
because then, what was it, the Learjet?
The Jet almost beat Golden Powell.
Yeah.
I did beat
Oh, no, he
Golden-
did. Yeah, he
did
did
beat
win.
Golden Powell,
He did
yeah.
go on to win it after winning
Ran
at...
soft on ground.
The reason why trainers, especially in the north, like going to Beverley before Ascot is because they've got the incline, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It's a similar-ish sort of test. So Beverley is a great place in the card if you've got a 2-year-old you think will take in the Windsor
Yarmouth.
Forest or the Norfolk Stakes. You might even... if
Windsor
you're lucky.
Forest.
Windsor Forest.
Windsor Castle.
Windsor Castle. I always get that
mate.
wrong.
Forest.
I always get that wrong. The Windsor Forest is not even called the Windsor Forest anymore. It's
I
a
don't even know what that
Cambridge,
is.
isn't it? Yeah, it's the 7 furlong fillies race. One of my favourite races of the week. What's your favourite Royal Ascot race of the week?
Yeah,
That's a question.
let us
isn't it?
know.
Yeah, we were having this discussion 2 weeks ago, weren't we?
We were,
I love all
we
my
were.
2-year-olds, but Commonwealth Cup is just so
Commonwealth
good.
Cup.
St James's
good.
Palace.
St James's
Hands down.
Palace is
Prince
a
of Wales.
beautiful race. Yeah,
really?
absolutely.
of Wales.
Barry, a reminder to the guests that you're going to be with us for the last 3 days in the studio at Royal Ascot.
Royal Ascot, yeah, Thursday through to Saturday. Looking forward to that, yeah. That'll
Are
be
you
great.
going to be on track Tuesday, Wednesday then? Is that the plan?
I am, yeah. I'm there Tuesday and Wednesday.
Yeah, you go.
Best
to-
of both worlds, Dave.
Well, quite. That's quite something I used to know about. Something I used to
You
know
needed
about.
here.
Yeah, I
Needed
quite
here,
right,
Dave.
absolutely. You wouldn't want, absolutely. I am needed here, I think. Absolutely. All right, JM Jungle. This isn't another drifter, Barry, is it?
Yeah, at 10.5 now. We're back at 8.4. But as Robbie Wilder would say, grifters win.
This one's going to win,
Today,
mate.
though.
Yeah, well, look, absolutely.
I've backed this horse again.
Kate's had her strong finish start. You need
Yeah.
your strong finish
Well,
start.
when you're
now.
advising Kate to put the bet on Barry, I was also putting my personal bet on the exchange. And
Rogue Spirit's been smashed up. He's 5.5 now, so he's a pretty live one in the market. 3.3 Chateau, 3.8 Whistle and Flute, 5.4 now Rogue Spirit, and it's 10 bar.
What does he look like on the graph then, Rogue Spirit? Because yesterday, again, he was second favourite when they priced it up initially.
Yeah, so he had gone out as big as he's matched at a high of 10 on the exchange, so he's halved in price in that respect. Although he was put in short, like he has been matched at as short as 5.2. What he's trading at now, Dave? Yeah, so he's halved in price.
Okay, that's interesting. All right. And of course, if you're looking at 7 runners here, if you want to play 3 places on the exchange, I've just been looking down that market. I would be interested in that and having a little bit on Corporate Radar, who is the Robert Cowell runner. I know Robert Cowell's horses, he didn't really fire in the sprint, the Achilles sprint, did he, those horses? And they have been a little bit in and out, but there have been some big SPs. Like I say, this probably is a good 2-year-old in the making, and he was an eye catcher on his debut. Stall 6, he's slightly out on the flank a little bit, but Danny Tudhope's probably been given orders to ride with no pressure, and be interesting to see what he can conjure out of him, of course. We won on Maria Bamwell in the National Stakes, a 2-year-old race on Thursday as well. Barry, let's just come to you just while they're getting ready. In fact, I've got a feeling they might be off. We might not have time. The flag man is up. I want to come to you about Statuette, Barry, the first race in Ireland today. After this, if you don't mind. It looks like a proper 2-year-old. But the flag man is up.
It's a great camera angle,
We've
isn't
got
it?
weird
Better
camera
building the
angle.
flag for about 3 minutes.
It's like the
Gonna get
cameramen are
shouldery.
worried about the kickback at Beverley.
They're away.
Okay, they're off, and we've got a strange
this
angle,
camera
but we are off and running. SIS obviously having
not
some
a good
problems there
camera angle,
on
that,
the
is it?
course. We'll tell you when we catch up with them who's leading. It looks like Whistle and Flute's bang up there with Road Bear it is who's going to be leading them. JM Jungle on the inside. It is the Robert Cowell horses out the back at the moment. Still looking a bit green there, Corporate Radar. And again, they're not going massively quickly for a 2-year-old sprint race. Chateau's got a beautiful cover up there at the moment. Honour Your Dream, the outsider for Ado Keatley and Wob's trainer. Let's have a look out the back. The Riddler, really well named horse for Hannigan and Fahy, who farmed this race when I was young. Let's have a look then. Now Chateau's starting to come off the bridle. It's Road Bear, Whistle and Flute's there.
Chateau's got
JM
nowhere
Jungle,
to
if
go.
it gets the
Nowhere
split,
to go.
guys.
Chateau,
Chateau again's getting no
nowhere to go.
luck when it's coming. The
Oh, he's
Riddler on the
gone.
outside.
Come on,
Corporate Radar.
Chateau.
Is this
Come
going to be
clover,
another
well
made
back.
all with the Road Bear? Chateau's now out. Surely too
Another
late.
made all.
The Whistle and Flute is
Surely.
absolutely falling in the hole. Jungle is
goodness me,
trying. Chateau once again a massive eye catcher,
Getting
but he's not going to quite get there, is he?
no.
Or is he? Hey! The Chateau pulls it on towards the end. My goodness, that looked unlikely. If you're on Rogue Spirit, I told you at the start of the show, this is the slowest final furlong in racing, Barry Orr.
Yeah, 1.14 Rogue Spirit was bet down to in running on the Betfair Exchange for 147 quid. So 7-1 on Rogue Spirit match. I thought it might have been shorter myself, considering it looked home and hose, but Chateau obviously gets up the win. Interestingly, Chateau traded at a high on the Betfair Exchange of 80. There was only small money done at 80. At 70, there was 30 quid traded. Yeah, the story of the race, he's come late and fast. The gambles landed. He went off favoured at 3.30. We flagged it up as a gamble beforehand, but a couple of hard luck stories in behind.
I think we have to watch out for that Salisbury race that Chateau made his debut in, when he was a big eye catcher, and I was getting all ready to see the close-up comment. Did well in the circumstances. They're always ones you want to hone in on here at the Racing Post when you read your close-up comments. Did well in the circumstances, eye catcher, promising, all those sort of things that you see at the end. A great team of close-up comment writers we've got these days here. They're honestly best in the business. And he was beaten on by a horse that day, Kate, wasn't he? Called Remarkable Force.
Am I racing? Alice
Haynes. Who must be a big player wherever he goes, and you imagine it will be Royal Ascot as well. So Chateau.
We need a price on Remarkable Force then for the Norfolk.
Well, that's maybe it, isn't it? This is what you get with his 2-year-old form, is that you collate it. This is why it's the greatest game of all this, isn't it? Leading into Royal Ascot, you get to see exactly where it is. And being Alice Haynes, you imagine he won't be too near the top of the market. But let's concentrate on Chateau. Will Buick, another one for him. We were a lot of said about his ride on Absolutely Flawless in the Hillary Needler. He might have been getting a few pearlers again. And all those people are saying that Will Buick didn't try on Absolutely Flawless. That's absolute rubbish. Dave Lowe, all he wants was they're not trying on that. It was just maybe an ill judge of placement. Guess what? Jockeys are, when they do hold up rides, they are hostage to fortune of what's going on up front. And they can occasionally slightly misjudge it. It all happens. There's no great conspiracy out there, I'm afraid. And William Buick has overcome the trouble this time. Go on, Barry.
8 the winner for the Norfolk.
8.
8-1, yeah.
Ooh.
It's always
Bad price, is it?
I don't know. It's so
You were impressed.
So difficult to
Yeah, he overcome quite a bit of adversity there. Eye catch first time
Stiff
out,
finish
eye
helped
catcher
him,
again.
didn't it? Because Rogue Spirit's on a big race, isn't he?
Like that Ascot finish.
Yeah.
Fair price.
Do you know what? I would take Rogue Spirit to the Molecombe. Fast and furious.
Yeah.
Ooh, good one.
Yeah, very good one.
A shout there.
Shout
That would
from
be.
you,
I would be
Grey Orton.
suggesting that. You don't know whether they're going to go on the undulations there. Tom Clover, good to see these colours, isn't it? You know, what's the one that Bollin beat?
Rogue Bear.
Rogue Bear.
Rogie Bear.
Who
He's a
does
bit of a
Rogie
rogue.
Bear, of course.
Rogie
Rogie
Bear.
Bear, very good. Who does look like he's a bit of a
is a rogue.
doesn't he? That one got no problems about whatsoever. But front running at the moment, Kate, at Beverley, not an issue, is it?
No, definitely not as it stands. That inside rail getting onto the front end, Rogue Spirit looked as though it was going to hold up on that basis. Therefore, again, then yet the pace certainly holding up, which means Chateau, considering yet again he looked as though he was going to get a luckless run as he did on his debut start. And Robbie said it halfway through there. He sort of said he's going to get no splits here, but he's had enough horse, William Buick, to get those splits again and still then to see it out well to the line. But yeah, it's tricky to weigh up kind of a Norfolk market, isn't it? Because of a lack of form.
And you've got the Ballydor horses, of course, that will
the
head the
Antarctic,
market. You've got Wes. About time we had a word with
Yeah.
Wes again, isn't it? So that's coming
Gonna
up.
get him on one of our shows, are we?
Well, he's a
cool, isn't
popular chap, believe it or not.
He doesn't like talking about his horses, does he?
Can't stand it.
The amount of times he said this is the best horse I've ever had.
Yeah.
He must have said that 7 or 8 times.
It's yeah.
Can't all be
I
a
mean,
man.
look, what? I don't know.
No, I like the bullishness.
I've got two ways of looking at that. You know, I think he genuinely is. I know everyone says it, but he's a lovely man, Wes.
Yeah, you'd rather
he's just the most
enthusiasm.
bullish man in racing. I've always called him that.
You'd always rather enthusiasm than bringing the mood down.
2016, when Lady Aurelia won her Queen Mary, she hosed up on the terrible ground, and we were all like, every horse that Wes has got ready. I was in a box for a lot of that week, next to where the tables had put the Wes Ward family, and he was up there. He was telling us everything was going to win. And of course we're listening to him. I don't think he had another one. Maybe Undrafted
I
might have been the
love
one that
him.
year. I can't remember under Frankie, but
You remember how big she was for a 2-year-old filly?
whopping.
Yeah.
It was. What was the real big one? What was the first one? The Queen Mary went up. What was her name? Began with A.
Wait, Acapulco.
Acapulco,
Acapulco.
Yeah, that's right.
What on
Yeah,
earth did you just get that
She
on?
was a monster.
I have
She
weird
was a
mem-
monster.
I have a memory. You know?
She was a monster. And if you're going to Royal Ascot, and it's important to look at these 2-year-olds.
I love going and seeing the American 2-year-olds. That's
can't-
again
yeah.
one of my favourite things because they're just a whole different entity to the
They're
Europeans.
taught to hit the gates hard, aren't they?
Yeah, they're taught to hit the gates, and even in
Yeah.
the paddock, like say, the size and build of them, they're just so beefy.
We're damned if we do, and we're damned if we don't here at the Post, because if we don't speak to Wes, everyone's like, "Where is he? I want to know." You know.
Oh, I'm so happy
Everyone
to speak to him. I
reads
love
it,
him.
right? But there is a little bit of, "Oh God, everything's going to win." Surely you. But yeah, there is a bit of that, isn't there, Barry?
The filly that won the first race today in Navan, Statuette.
Yes.
She would remind you a bit in Acapulco, the size of her. She was like a 3-year-old colt. She was absolutely enormous.
Yeah, they backed it, didn't they? And she hosed up, didn't she?
Yeah, she hosed up. Yeah. She's 3-1 favourite for the Albany now.
It's got to be the Albany, isn't it? They've got another one for that, I think, as well. But look, this is fun, isn't it, talking about all these horses. We've got to go now to the 3:30 at the John of Gaunt. We've not even talked about a Derby in the Oaks yet. We'll do that maybe in between 2 more races to come. The John of Gaunt and then the Nap of the Day race coming up at Chester. Thrilled to say we're taking in a race from Chester. It's great fun there, isn't it? And I think I've got the winner of it. So let's get to that as soon as we can. John of Gaunt, Barry. It's every year we come to the John of Gaunt. We're like, oh, it's that weekend.
Weekend before the weekend before the Derby.
The John of Gaunt weekend. You're like, oh, it's that weekend.
Anyway, Kinross 3.4 at the moment. Sunray Major 5, 7.8 Happy Power. Blanquesh is 6.6, 9.8 Spike Pasture, and it's 10 bar. Yeah, it's a real head scratcher of a race. I like the favourite, but it was a little bit more given the ground. I think he'd be considerably shorter. Happy Power, though, relatively friendless in the market, so we're going to set our own odds here, please. But he's 6-14 over 7 furlongs. He's been good form this season. Dave, we were doing it when he beat Pat Thunder in the 3-runner race in Leicester last month. Kinross has the beating on him on Lennox form, but he's only beaten him half a length that day into third, and Creative Force was second. He traded at evens that day in Goodwood. But you know, he's a horse. He's holding his form well, let's say, this season. You're going to get a run for your money. I can't really see him out of the first race. We're just going to have 50 quid on him to place, Kate, please. Currently trading at 242. So around the 6-4 mark, we're going to have 75 to 50 him to finish in the first 3. And I think that's the way to play this race.
Sorry, Barry,
Kinross,
please repeat that. Sorry, I missed that.
Sorry, in the 3 places, we're having 50 quid on Happy Power.
3 places, perfect. There you go. 3 places, Happy Power, and 50 quid on. Perfect.
50
Lovely.
quid on, yeah.
Miss Tracey, are you good?
Yeah, I'm all good. Sorry, it cut out a little bit there. I couldn't quite hear, but no, all good. Got it now.
Kate's in a better place since she's had a winner. I can tell she's kind of relaxed a little bit. You, however, are getting attached to Hetchy.
My record on these shows is so bad. I've had a pretty good punting week, apart from I've just turned up.
What goes up
The opposite
must come
of
down.
drifting.
What? Come on. Positivity, you know me.
Yeah.
We've got 2 races left. The
All right,
doubles
well,
on.
I was thinking Kinross when I wrote the preview analysis for this race a couple of days ago, but I didn't think that it'd be like good to firm. I thought it'd be good to soft.
Yeah, if this was softer ground, he'd be short price.
Yeah,
wouldn't he?
big time. Yeah, so I'm looking away.
But
from
they've got to
that.
get him run into him, I'm assuming, before they go somewhere at Ascot.
Would they
Maybe
go?
Goodwood.
He's only
Lennox Stakes at Goodwood
He's
might
actually
be his
not
race.
got a Queen Anne entry, but he's got a Platinum Jubilee entry. But he's got a he does have a Sussex Stakes.
Well, he's the class horse in the race, isn't
Yeah,
he?
he
Because
is,
he tried the Champions Day sprint. Before that, he ran Blue Point. No, not Blue Point. Who's the
Foray,
Space
in
Blues?
Space
Sorry,
Blues.
Foray.
Yeah.
Blue something. In blue colours, that's for sure. And he's a classy animal. And the Beckett's horses are going well. You would like a bit of dig. When he won this last year, he had 2 runs. So, I don't know.
A couple of Maidan runs. Didn't he get gelded? Did they get gelded before Maidan? Or?
I can't quite remember. He just got lost a little bit, Kinross, didn't he? I remember he was fancy for the Guineas after being a very good 2-year-old. But look, Sunray Major for me is a bit... He's got a lot to prove here. I think it's obviously why Dettori's gone to Haydock today. And you know a bit about this horse, don't you? Because you put a lot of eggs in his basket early on.
Put him up to that Sandown race, yeah.
He didn't see it out, did he?
Doesn't finish well over a mile, but
But this
last
is a
time
drop in grade, isn't it, obviously?
Dropping grade. Last time he was over 7 furlongs, he looked pretty deadly to me. He looked like a group horse.
Yeah.
He's only run, I think, 6 times.
Is this the tip? Have you gone on to him?
I think Lanicash at the prices, but to be fair, I might have a bit of both actually.
There's money coming for Pogo,
a
isn't
bit
there?
of both.
Stevie Donoghue thought he might run well.
Yeah.
We chatted to him yesterday. He's only a couple of
Price
words.
wise as well. He's the
Tom
only
Seagal's put
front
him up.
runner.
Yeah.
gets a bit further.
And I mentioned yesterday when that came up, every time I hear Charles Hills, he says that this is yet to see the best of Pogo. And I'm a fan of Pogo. When we first started doing these shows, I put him up with 33-1 for the Hunt Cup, and I felt I was going to win the whole way.
Yes,
and,
yeah.
He got placed.
Yeah.
Have you found the Hunt Cup winner yet, Barry, by the way? That was this time last year, we were going in with the Sir Michael Stout horse, weren't we, that was somehow on the wrong side.
Yeah, no, not this year yet, Dave. I haven't really looked at it, to be perfectly honest with you. It's just obviously last year I was very keen on Astro King.
There he is.
And got done by an absolute Janie. Real world did me, didn't he?
Yeah.
Like,
Second
on
to
the
buy
wrong
you.
part.
Very well handled.
On the wrong part of
you
the
know,
track, everything, yeah.
Defeated on grass. As
Real
he came
world
back from.
Yeah.
He was bottom weight in that race as well. Like nearly didn't get
On
in.
the wrong side, he couldn't win on that side of the track
Yeah.
until he did it. It
Wrong
was.
side of the track and everything, yeah. And did myself.
And our regular
What a
viewers will
sickener,
remember
Dave.
after the Thirst Cup, but and that's the thing, Barry, isn't it? It doesn't mean that you like to. Well, we all like to try and find the Hunt Cup winner, but when you see something, I'm the same with Cheltenham as well. What race is your banker in, Dave? I'm dictated to by what I see that season, you know. And obviously, you know, we haven't quite seen it yet, maybe. All right, so it's Happy Power, and again another drifter. This has been the Drifterwood show, isn't
Sunray
it?
Major and Lanacash for me.
Dutching them up.
The bets are on.
It's interesting that
Sunray
Lanacash is being kept going, isn't he? Considering the dispersal.
Yeah, they got rid of that
Shuttle have had.
decent Brian Meehan horse who ran pretty well behind now Aussie.
Yes,
the
good
name escapes
shout.
me, Maj.
Yes, the good stayer. He's a good
Why
horse,
don't I
that.
remember the name?
Meehan obviously has lost all of his
Very similar.
Shadwell horses, unfortunately.
Yes, Tracey has it.
Darren Walker says one
Come
ruler
on,
at 10-1 for the Hunt Cup. On the Victoria Cup form. That's very interesting. Commander comes on and says, surely Pogo is the class horse in this. That'll do for me. You'll be hoping he bounces out, as he has done from the gates.
Away.
Don't forget the 7 furlongs, but they go around a bend here. And very interestingly, this time Frankie is going right to the back with Sunray Major, a horse with a potent turn of foot. Unlike Pogo, but once he bounces out, as he has done, he can catch them napping. He won a listed race at Windsor, I remember. Really good attitude, and he's got his own way.
Remember that.
And let's have a look who's following him at the moment. It's Misty Gray, all-weather horse ready, but Richard Kingscote, the greatest jockey in our recent memory around Haydock, it sits in second. Jim Crowley, Lanacash there as well. Happy Power. Big confidence boost at Leicester last time. He's in form. Looking back for Kinross, beautiful run at the moment. What have we got? We've got Catch 22, the big outsider. Spy Catcher's there as well. All-weather form. He's now giving him a lot to do, Sunday Major, isn't he?
Yeah, I'd be
Securing the
pretty
base.
worried if you, me and the other geezers have...
They must be so confident about his turn of foot, this chap, mustn't
He
they?
did miss the break.
I reckon he's going to go close here if he gets a run.
Come on,
Let's
Kinross.
have a look then. The front runners are starting to fold a bit. Happy Power,
Pull him
perfectly
out,
placed. Now the
James.
class of Kinross is coming.
Lanacash
Sunray
has got
Major
really
is his
well
target, but Frankie's not
Come
sure.
on, Kinross,
He's
quick,
worried
quick,
about
quick, he's
Spy
going for
Catcher
the
going
lead.
into
Just
him.
get out.
Lanacash is
Get
on the
out.
inside, unlike Celia
Is he
Rosa.
waiting for that
No
gap
one
up
giving
for
him
the
any
round?
room.
Come on, Kinross.
Just feeling the ground now, I think, Kinross, isn't he? Here comes
Come on,
Sunray Major.
Kinross.
Has Dettori left it a little bit too late? Pogo's
Come on,
still the
Kinross.
one to
Go on,
catch.
Pogo.
Could this be
Go on,
another
Pogo.
massive price-wise? The
Oh,
followers
come
are
on,
coming.
Kinross.
Finish of the day.
Come on,
Kinross is
Kinross.
going to stick his neck out. Lanacash coming.
Kinross.
Pogo's still on the line.
on, Kinross.
This
Well,
is
we're
remarkable.
finished.
Tom
No.
Segal. How does he do
No,
it?
Pogo, I think Pogo on
I
the
don't know how
rail.
Tom is doing it this
No,
year,
I think
but I
That
think Pogo's
angle.
held
I
on.
think Lanacash has got that.
Do you think?
I reckon that's
I think Pogo.
Barry, it's
Pogo's
Pogo, isn't
one.
it?
Pogo's definitely. Yeah, Pogo's definitely.
Oh,
He's held
dear
on, yeah.
Pogo.
So
Bless his
delusional.
heart.
Delusional fool.
Ooh, it's closer than I thought on the
line.
north.
The cameraman likes Pogo. I thought Pogo had just got
He's
it.
got it in
What a
front
brave
after the
effort.
line.
Well done.
Pace.
Well done out there
Pace.
in community land. You were all getting it up, weren't you? And fair play. Tom Segal. My
Yeah.
goodness gracious. Class is permanent and all that sort of thing. He just is having the year, a worldy year again.
is.
We're waiting for official confirmation, Barry, of course.
What a ride. What a ride, Kieran Schumacher, if he's held on. The market's suggesting he's held on. He's 102, so he's 50-1 on in the photo finish. You can back him at 101, lay at 50-1 on. It's 50 Lanacash and 60 to lay Lanacash. Market suspended now. So the result is official, I would imagine. But yeah, obviously Lanacash, Robbie's tip in the race, traded low 1.7
Oh,
for 193 quid. Another stride and he's up. But
When you're
Yeah,
down, you're down.
the closers seem to. Sunray Major's got a bit of a funny ride there, hasn't he? In
Yeah.
terms of
Considering the pace
he
has
left
been
him a
holding up.
lot to do.
Do you know
And the
what that
pace did-
reminded me of, Barry? It reminded me of Errors on Lockinge Day. Or was it Lockinge Day when Jim Crowley, do you remember?
The 3-year-old, yeah.
Where they just ride in for one burst. And whether Haydock's the track to do that at, Kate, I'm not totally sure.
No, exactly. That's it. And it's just sort of the way that Haydock's been riding today. It's been so. Frankie should know. He's dictated the pace on 2 of the races. Maybe he just felt that actually that wasn't going to suit the Sunray Major, therefore. And sort of, you can't crib him for riding him in that way because that's how he was ridden last time out, wasn't it? Sunray Major as well. So obviously it's not always jockey's decision. It's dictated to by connections. But you may have liked him to have maybe made a move a little bit sooner on that basis with the fact that the pace has been holding up today.
I just think I quite like what they did on him, though. Having watched him the last twice with you, they've tried to see him out as a miler. He hasn't got home over a mile at Sandown. They know he's got that turn of foot. He's the Kingman, right?
Yeah.
He's the Kingman sibling, quick miler. For me, I think that John Gaunt, by the way, guys out there, I don't know what you reckon, I think that's going to set the narrative for the 7 furlong all the way to the foray. Now we're going to see them up against each other quite a bit. If you're on Lanakash, you can see why they've kept him, right?
Yeah, his ability there for sure. But the concern is he didn't really kick on after running a really good race on his return last year and sort of
is he a freshers? Well, you'll find out.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if you're on Kinross, softer ground, come on for the run.
Yeah.
Good effort because he looks in trouble a furlong out. He's bravely kept onto the line. And Sunray Major, there is a prize in him somewhere, wherever it'll be. Could he go to America, that horse? That'd be interesting as well, potentially. OK, let's get some socials up for the final race of the day. We must move on. It's the one I've been waiting for. And George Murray has also been waiting for us. George, welcome back to the show. Right, my last horse bet of the day, waiting on Great Orton Nap. I can see them in the paddock in a sunny Chester. The Rudy comes and joins the show for the 3:45 Barry Orr. I'll give you the floor first.
Yeah, so Boardman is a very strong favourite here at 2.76, Dave. 6.4 Pools Rush In. Oh, This Is Us is 8.2. 9.2 Mykonos St. George. 9 Tom Frey. And it's 23 bar. I like Pools Rush In, Kate. We're going to back it on the sportsbook. So if you toggle over to the sportsbook, we're going to take advantage of the 4 places here on the Betfair Sportsbook. Yeah, so it is 4 places on the Betfair Sportsbook. Yeah, there's no non-runners there. Hugo Palmer's horse rated 95. Course and distance winner last August off 93. 4th the Red Mirage at the May meeting here from stall 4. He can lead. I'm not sure he needs to, though. He was held up the day that he won over the course and distance off 93 last August. So, yeah, we're just going to have a 25 quid each way him to take advantage of those 4 places on the Betfair Sportsbook at 9-2. So happy to be a price taker here. But like I said, Boardman really, really strong in the market, Dave. On the exchange has been 3.9 Boardman. So 385, so around 11-4, we had 756 quid matched at that, all the way down to sub 7-4 now. So he was matched at 11-4 down to 7-4.
He's a friend of ours, isn't he, Barry? Because, of course, you remember at Haydock going back when he won at April. Do you remember you were in that day, Kate?
Yeah, we sided with him that day.
And
he was in trouble.
$1 million a furlong out, wasn't he?
Yes, because but that's kind of the medicine you have to take when you side with Boardman. You know he's a hold-up performer. You know he's going to run into trouble. He's going to have to look for the splits, especially over this kind of trip. And you're just going to have to hope he gets the splits in time, then he runs on well.
Because he's installed 2, which ordinarily around Chester is a blinding draw.
But
well, not when you're on a hold-up horse.
No, but at least for this race, the trends tell us that hold-up performers have a very good record.
And he's not even really a hold. You call him like a midfield horse, wouldn't you?
Horse.
He's a horse that relies on getting
down.
cover,
Yeah.
and that's the problem. If you're on a horse that's, say, just going to come from maybe the last 3, you've got the options of going wide. He's probably, when they come to the cutaway, going to be screaming for it.
Yeah.
And we see it at Chester, don't you? You think, oh, I've got one here. And he won this race last year. He's £5 higher, Boardman. He's what, 2 from 4 this season. He has been back to Chester, of course. He came back to their big May meeting and he was beaten off a £3 lower mark. He's since been to Thirsk and showed his true colours again. I imagine he's interesting, isn't he? Did they go to Royal Ascot with him last year? They did, and they ran him, of course, in the Buckingham Palace Stakes.
You know the issue with that though? It's not in May.
He is the merry month of May horse.
He is the merry month of May horse,
yeah. Well,
running it 6 times.
Are you suggesting this is his last chance to win this season?
Basically, yeah. To write him off for the rest of the summer.
Yeah.
No, not necessarily in that sense, but it is uncanny that he goes so well at this time of year because of a whole host of obviously different variables.
I think if you're backing him at 15-8, I get it. I still think he can win off this mark, but there's a little bit skinny. And it's the Haydock form that I'm looking at for the nap of the day. And it's 9-year-old. Oh, this is us. Ooh. Oh, this is a bit of me. Look at this. Oh, this is us coming up. This is a bit of me, I'm telling you. I'm all over this chap. Andrea Azzini takes the ride from stall 3. Stalk, please. I'm hoping that he's going to stalk Stevie Dono on Barry's selection, Falls Rush in. Stevie told us yesterday, didn't there's so much pace in this race, which there looks to be. You've got the likes of Arzano. I'm going to go to Robbie with that in a minute. I'm sort of laughing because what price is that?
Again, open up about 10s and he's out to 50.
You love a drifter.
What is going on?
But oh, this is us. He's been to Chester. Let me just get this right, because this was the icing on the cake for me. When you look at horses' record, we've got horses for courses, right? And every year, horses are aimed at that May meeting, like Boardman, like these meetings. Go back to Chester, because if you handle it so well, great prize money, and Saturday racing, you can get it on. And this chap ran an absolute blinder at Haydock. 2 runs back behind Boardman. He's now a pound lower. Boardman's obviously gone up significantly in the weights. He got first run on him that day, and Boardman's turn of foot cut him down. But the Chester record for the 9-year-old is, drum roll please, he has run at the course. Come on, Dave's computer, be a bit quicker, please. Here we go, 5 times. 3 wins, a second and a third, and he looks a beauty. I know at Newbury last time he ran no sort of race, but his Newbury record just is nowhere near as good. In fact, it's awful. It's 9.07. So don't worry about it. I think these older horses can bounce back. Better the day for me. Come on.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'll back toe This Is Us as well. Ozzano is my main selection. I think he's going to kick on this season. First time out of a handicap in 8 starts. Ran really well fresh last season behind Toro Strike.
You've got an interesting theory about the O'Mara horses after a certain amount of time with him, haven't you?
Yeah. Well, he's just got a knack of really improving these horses, hasn't he? Like Lord Glitters didn't show his best stuff till after he'd been with O'Mara for probably about a year.
You think that they have him for about a year and they just a whole shooting?
So. I need to run some proper data on that.
If only G-Rob was it. Yeah, it's an interesting theory. A trainer that gets to know his horses and then can play with them, you know?
Exactly, yeah. And he's shown plenty of ability last year. He won a listed race a couple of starts ago. I mean,
he won the Hillary Needler, of course, David O'Mara, earlier on the show. So you're siding with me.
I know This Is Us as well, yeah. I mean,
This Is Us and
I was on him
for you then.
big time a couple of starts ago at Haydock. He ran really well there.
He's in stall 4, isn't he? We should say as well, I know a lot of people talk about, they have to be drawn low at Chester. This in particular has been the 7th furlong. The low draw here has been of big help to runners going forward. Kate.
Yes, and to be fair, when I was looking at this was the only race I had to actually run my handicap trends then from all of our races this weekend. So I really wanted to home in on it. And This Is Us actually came out second with a score of 3 out of the 7 then, rather than Boardman was 4 out of 7 for This Is Us. He has the ideal rating for this race of 92. He's going to be ridden further back, which again is ideal, and he's had the optimal turnaround time of the 14th of May being his last start as well. So, yeah, he ticked an awful lot of boxes then coming into this. It's just the fact that he did run badly last time out that is putting him on the back foot.
Don't worry about that. It's Newbury. He hates Newbury. It's a local track for him.
Yeah, he does hate Newbury. Yeah, he's always run stinkers.
He's stinkers there. It's the straight track doesn't
Going to win a big one at Motby today.
It's funny though, isn't it? Because he won a listed race at Ascot. Do you remember this time, early season last year?
Yeah, before, and then he won at Epsom at Diomede Stakes.
Yeah, he's been a brilliant horse. I remember Rodway put him up in that Haydock race. Do you remember when we were on Boardman, and he thought, and we were like, oh, This Is Us, what you on about? And then you looked at it and you were like, oh, and he ran an absolute belter. And you know what Sod's Law says? When Rodway backs one and jumps off one.
Yeah, then it's a
It's time to enjoy. Barry, we're 3 minutes away from the market. Boardman, we've spoken. What does the price now say?
Been buried into 6-4 now on the exchange. Really strong. Really strong, Dave. 2.58. 7 Fools Rush in. This Is Us is 8. 8-2 Mykonos St. John. And it's 10.5 Tom Frey. 26 Bardos. 5 at the top of the market.
Yeah, Mykonos St. John seems to have come in for support, Barry, from the one poke. Didn't run too badly. I think these are what you call misleading form figures, because he was 7th of 20 runners, only beaten just over 3 lengths last time at York. He's been busy, has he, for Scott Dixon?
Plenty of money for him. Was as big as 16 on the exchange, and like I said, he's trading currently now. He's half in price. He's trading at 8.0, so he's a 7-1 chance from 16. So really strong for Jack Duran.
Had a welcome winner at Pontefract last night, a sociologist who made all Will Mykonos St John do it in the final race then of the day here on Racing Post Live. They're just going down to start. Is this time to have a quick chat about the Derby? Because you guys won't be with us next week. Who wins the Derby? Robbie Wilders?
I've been anti-Desert Crown. I'm still a bit concerned he's only run twice, but the fact that Stout
Wasn't Pisbadil one of your horses to follow?
Yeah, he was, yeah.
So why are you telling me that Desert Crown's not going to win the Derby?
No, I'm not saying that. I just wanted to start with Desert Crown.
Fine.
If you want a more succinct answer, then I'll go for Sonny Liston. Massive price.
Is that the Hills horse?
Yeah.
Robbie.
Really eye-catching in the D stakes. Star of India.
Blimey.
I thought he was unlucky not to win that.
I'd like to show you the front page if I can. Great article with Frankie from Julian Muscat. Saying about obviously getting on Pisbadil. A lot been said about that, hasn't there?
What's he saying?
He's basically said, owners asked me to ride.
Oh, in terms of Frank
Gavin Ryan.
Yeah, he's come out and actually said, yeah.
You can get the best.
You heard it here. If you've not been there, it's all there. But there was a lot of talk. Kills was talking to us. I don't know if he said the same to you, but Kills about a month ago said, it was just when we were lining up Aidan O'Brien to come on our feature shows basically, and he said we're hearing that Frankie's been recommended he might want to have a look at Pisbadil. Of course, who beat Buckaroo, didn't he? But Buckaroo didn't really do the form much good last week.
Yeah, but he did on his previous start. I think he just ran flat. He
won
because he beat New Energy by about 6 lengths on his previous start, but the form's been reversed. I don't think that was his true running. I like Pisbadil. I like Ulysses as a sire.
Yeah, so do I.
Keen to see what
slow burner, isn't he? Yeah. They tend to get older as they get older.
I'm sure Babe Bridge will be
Can't wait
like
to
that.
see him. He's got some proper older horses. That would be really interesting. I was a big fan of Ulysses, I must say. Kate Derby.
Oh, it's so tricky. I thought Desert Crown, to be honest, he may be an absolute freak. He may just go and win this still. And, he did absolutely nothing last time. I know people were saying about his wandering and signs of greenness. Will he cope with Epsom? I'm not fearing that will translate anyway. So I think Star of India looks overpriced. Beat your lad then at Chester, of course. I really like him. Yeah, I just love his attitude. I know he's not flash, and I know he's not sort of this, this could be anything. He could be anything still at this point, but this sort of really engaging horse as such. But his attitude is just brilliant, and I love Chester form going to Epsom then as well. And as I say, he's just a typical son of Galileo, isn't he, with that attitude of resolve. Yeah. I think he just looks overpriced as a solid each way play at this stage.
What about the Oaks? Emily Upjohn wins or far too short?
I mean, Nashwa's quite interesting. Rodders thinks she should be favourite.
Yeah,
I don't know if I'd go along with that.
Rodders has thought a lot of things this week.
Comes out with some stuff.
Yeah, but he's like I said to you, he gets an unpopular opinion which he thinks is right and goes with it. Yeah. That tends to be what he does. But what he said about Desert Crown is he's talking about the potential of the horse. Of course, he thinks this will be Stout's best horse.
I've not run.
We were at York when he ran. We saw him in the flesh. And
has Stout ever had a horse put up a 120 RPR on their second start? I mean, it
was big, wasn't it? And it wasn't interesting how Stout he basically said this week. You don't really have to improve. I don't think he has to improve. So I don't know. Physically, he would have proved he'd come on. What price Desert Crown at the moment is they going for the last race, Barry, on the sports book? Is he going to go under 2-1 this horse?
Desert Crown?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. He's 6-4. He's 6-4 at the moment. I don't think he's above 2-1.
Right.
Because it just looks a pretty ordinary derby, doesn't it? Yeah, and Sir Michael Stout to be so effusive in his praise as well. Usually they kind of manage expectations around these horses, but he's been saying, he doesn't have to improve much from what he's done in the Dante to win the Derby.
I think it was when Babe Bridge came out as well, wasn't it? Everyone was like, all right, Stout, so they know what they got again here. So, yeah, I don't know. So
average renewal of the race.
Well,
Stone
it
Age,
might
be. You have all those Aidan O'Brien horses there, Stone Age, Changing of the Guard, United Nations, Star of India, right? And Luxembourg was his best 3-year-old colt, without a shadow of a doubt. And they've gone and won all those. They've gone and won all those trials. So I don't fancy any of the Aidan O'Brien runners.
We'll be finding out soon, Barry. They've jumped at Chester, I'm delighted to say. Stevie Donahoe has absolutely tanked to the front on your selection. He tried to do this at the May meeting. Let's see if he does a bit too much. I don't think Stevie was expecting to be quite this far ahead, unless he was bowling us a curveball yesterday. Arzano's gone right to the back as my earpiece flies out. Looking for Oh This Is Us. He's got a nice cover there, Andrea Ozzini. Hopefully he won't get knocked about. Interestingly, not going to get first run on Boardman this time. Not quite how I saw it. I don't think they're going that quick, are they?
No, Devil
He's put the anchor down. Nicholas St John is in second, the money horse beforehand. Ozano out the back, looking for some of the others as well. Gabriel the Wire, the Marwan colours, who we associate just with this track. Who's that Devil Wala as well? They're just starting to step it up again here. Ozano catching my eye, but he's going to be way back, isn't he? Falls rush in then for Hugo Palmer, Stevie Dono. When does he press the button? Has he gone to a pole position? Is Boardman at the moment? This has gone as good as it possibly has. Let's have a look then. They're going, what price is he's really, really low, isn't he? Come on, oh, this is us. You need to fill the others. Go out, Tony. He's piling out there at the moment. I think the others are giving these lot too much rope.
Come on, David Allen.
The 9-year-old is trying. He doesn't have the legs, though.
Come on, Boardman, get rolling.
There's way too much to do. Falls rushing going at the moment. Here comes Boardman. Oh, this is us flashing home far too late from off the pace. Not
keep
over
going,
the moon
you
with that
good
ride,
7 furlong
but Boardman
horse.
has
Good
done it,
lad.
and off he goes. And oh God, I'm seething at that ride, but I shall try to hold it in and be professional.
Oh, don't
Andrea,
let it go.
what were you doing,
Let it all
man?
out.
Boardman got first run on the mall. It was plain sailing, Kate Tracey. But let's go to Barry because couldn't have gone any easier for him.
Yeah, he was in the box seat all the way around, and it opened up nicely for him. And the market was right; he was absolutely buried in the market. He had Betfair SP of 2.44. Fools Rush In traded at a low of 3.9, so just 3-1. No massive in running news, Dave. Your horse traded at a low, didn't trade low in running at all, 6.2. Mykonos St. George, who tracked the Fools Rush In, traded at a low of 4.6 at one stage, but the favourite always in control, really, once the gaps appeared, and he just took off with the furlong to run.
He's got the proper turn of foot. We've seen that at Haydock, and we saw it at Thirsk last time. The pace held up. Mykonos St. John and Fools Rush In, they kicked off the bend. The hold-up horses were in a lot of trouble at halfway. And look, I know that I've obviously put a lot of eggs in the This Is Us basket. You probably saw I was not over the moon with that, but they've got that totally wrong, the jocks there. And what was he waiting for, Andrea? I don't really get it.
Weird.
It was a bit weird, wasn't it? Because he got first run at Boardman at Haydock, and I thought that was how it would go this time around. Anyway, there we are. Kate Tracey, fair play. It's the merry month of May for Boardman.
Yeah, it is. That was the only race I could run any trends on this weekend for a handicap, and I'm so happy that it's actually come to fruition, therefore. And fair play to David Allen as well, because normally for this race you want a horse that's ridden a bit further back, and we talked about that with Boardman beforehand. Probably was ridden more prominently than I was even expecting, but he's just dictated that race from third. Let the front two get on with it. He got the perfect scene, therefore nothing got in his way whatsoever, and he's then seen out. So probably back to the Buckingham Palace, you would have thought.
Yeah.
For that, I don't know, maybe a Bunbury Cup or something then.
I wonder if This Is Us, that was his day. I'm looking at it again, Robbie. He's flown home, isn't he? Again, he sort of looked after him, actually. He's known, isn't he? Well, I don't know, it's weird. I wonder, turning in, did he think they were going to fall in his lap? We spoke to Stevie, obviously, yesterday, and we got exactly what his tactics were going to be. He didn't think he was going to lead, and he said that the horse Fools Rush In, who Barry backed, did too much last time. He definitely put on the anchor, didn't he? With about 3 furlongs to run, that caught out the hold-up horses. Chester. There we go. All right, final race of the day. It's done and dusted. Let's hope you've had fun with us. Great to be watching. Barry, big week coming up. Studio debut this time next week.
Oh, I'm tingling with nerves, Dave. Can't stand the excitement. I'm like a child before Christmas Eve.
Are you going to Oaks Friday?
Yes.
Great stuff.
Yeah, looking forward to that. That's always a cracking day, obviously, with Coronation Cup and the Oaks. And then into London, staying Friday night in London and Saturday night in London. So looking forward to
could be a heavy one.
to helping the Queen celebrate her Platinum Jubilee.
We shall try and do that, Barry. Cannot wait. So if you're there on Friday, go say hi to the great man, or do not miss it. Derby coverage coming your way on Saturday. It's been one of those days, isn't it? Fast and furious. It has gone quickly, hasn't it?
Fine by, mate,
yeah. Horses to take away from the day, I think. For sure.
Yeah, definitely into Royal Ascot. That was kind of the reason of today, really, wasn't it? Is for ahead to Royal Ascot, trying to find pointers.
Rather than the Group 1 now horses,
yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. I think that Marajan of Agassiz I'll be back in next time out, and did like Chateau.
Yes, really.
Yeah, very much so.
Did like Chateau. Yeah, it's what are we doing for the rest of the weekend?
Going out on the booze tonight.
Say it how it is.
Shoreditch. Champions League final out in Shoreditch, Blues Kitchen.
Plant-based drinks all the way. Champions League cake. Good luck, Liverpool.
Thank you so much. Yeah. I've already got my takeaway order because I'm on a stupid diet at the minute. So I'm actually ordering a takeaway to enjoy it in front of Liverpool, in front of a TV. Yeah. Hoping for the Bournemouth-Liverpool double.
It's been great fun. We'll see you back in a couple of weeks. I'm going to a barbecue now. It's my niece's birthday, Carly. So happy birthday, Carly, out there. I'll be back to celebrate with you very shortly indeed. Good luck for the rest of the weekend, guys. Bit of a strange day tomorrow, but some great racing in France as well. Like I said, next Friday, join us around about 1 p.m. here on RP Live.